Hello! Welcome back to Chewed Gum. That's the last time I'll ever sing on this. Hi, Taylor! Girl, you're muted.
Damn, I'm so sad. I hate when that happens. I could feel the smile drop off my face, but dude, I'm so good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's Tuesday. We're back. I love being here, and I'm excited to get into some quills. If this is your first time here, this is Chewed Gum. We talk about purity culture things. We talk about deconstructing things. We talk about sexuality and gender and all different kinds of fun things. And if you would like to call, you can call the number on the screen below. It is 720-619-2288, or use the web link that's in the description. You can also call and you don't have to use your real name. So there's a level of, you can be a sort of anonymous, So if people feel nervous, you can sort of, I just want people to call, and people get very nervous to do it. Anywho, we will read super chats of $5 or more at the end of the show. And is that all of my things? I think.
You could do the schedule for
How's
this
your
week.
week gone?
Oh my god. Oh,
whoops.
Well, it was. I'll pull up the schedule. Will I? Where's the schedule? Okay, not to be a bad host, but where is the schedule, guys? I don't think I have the right link anymore. Okay, well, I'll talk about other things first. Okay, so it was my birthday on Sunday, so I had a really fun.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. On Friday, my boyfriend is touring right now, and so he was in Buffalo, and he was going to be away the whole weekend, and their show got canceled that night. So he got on a flight with 15 minutes notice, and he called me, and he's like, "Do you want to have dinner? What are you doing for dinner?" And I was like,
"Oh my gosh, stop! That's so cute."
So crazy. He's kind of insane, but it was really cool. And so we had dinner on Friday, and yeah, it was really nice. And then on Sunday, I went to a pickle festival with my siblings.
I've heard of that before. Yeah, do you like pickles to that extent, or no?
No, I like pickles the way that God intended, which is a funny phrase to use on the show. But it's oh my god, that's real, Jimmy. That's really nice. What are you doing? Okay. But what was I gonna say? I like pickles in the ways that they should be, on a stick or in the jar, on their own, on a burger,
yeah,
and as a chip flavor. That's it.
Right. Yeah. I don't even like pickles, period. So I would suffer there.
Oh,
truly.
You would have had a panic attack. They had pickle lemonade. I was like, y'all are nasty.
That's foul.
I don't want to yuck your yum.
That is foul.
That's gross. Gross.
Oh wait, I like pickle shots. That's one form of pickles I like. That's not even a pickle form, but it's fine.
Pickleback?
Pickle juice.
Is it when you? Yeah. Okay, I like that. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Y'all are so nice. So it was really nice. I don't really like birthdays very much. This was this was a good birthday. Are you a birthday person?
Yeah, but like I normally like to just do something very specific to myself. Like I don't really like having like a party or something like that, if that makes sense. So like normally I'll just
Yeah.
go do something I think is fun on my own or with my husband. But you got tattoos
Mm.
too, and I love them.
I did.
I
And
I don't I love the snake so much. Like so
me
much.
too. That was the part
What
that
is
hurt the
the
most though.
what is the word? I was trying to figure it out. Harmless?
Yeah. I got most of
Okay.
it's like inspired by some books that I really love. But I also feel, I mean, it's like also it's half peeling, so it looks so weird right now. But there's a book that I really love that where like the two main characters promise to be harmless to each other, and I think that's really sweet. But I also think that's like
Oh.
generally like how I like to go through life, to be harmless to
Yeah.
most.
I love that.
So thanks. Do you have tattoos? I don't know if you do.
Only two small ones in places no one will see them, so
Mhm.
that's
I
about
love
it.
it. I love it. What'd you do this weekend? And then we'll get into our calls.
Oh my gosh, I literally had something on my mind and now I forget. Oh, well, I have been crocheting a lot of I've been crocheting a lot of wrong side. Halloween. See that plague doctor back there? He's vibing. Um
It's a
I
little
don't know
dark,
if
so
you
I
can see
can't
him.
really, but I love a plague
But
doctor.
also, I had a Halloween movie day with my friends, and we watched all the Halloween movies, and not all of them, but like different scary movies, and it was so fun. And I like made food, and we had snacks, and we were
That's
in our
so fun.
snuggies. It was a
That's
fire time.
like that's my dream evening. I love that. That's so great.
Same. We
Oh my
literally started it
God.
off with mimosas and French toast, and we just went all day, and it was beautiful.
Oh, that's a beautiful day. My God. I like I wish I spent my weekend like, well, I mean, I had a really good weekend, but I need to do that as it turns out. Um, I love that. Okay, well, we had really great weekends, and now we get to have some really great calls. How's that for a
Yay.
segue? um, okay, so we have some theists in the queue, and we have one specifically who wants to talk about religious stuff. So perhaps we pull him in first. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I'll always agree with that.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pull in Curtis, calling from Colorado. Hello. Hi, Curtis.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear
Hello?
me?
Oh,
Yes, we can.
yes.
Okay. There might be a delay, but I think we're good.
You sound good.
All right.
Okay. So I'm calling based on the title, kind of the prompt. Is that am I good to go on this, or do you guys need to?
Mm-hmm.
No, you could go right ahead. Let us know what you
Cool.
wanted to talk about.
So I might just ask like maybe one or two kind of quick. I shouldn't be on here long, 5-10 minutes. Just to clarify, do you guys? I'll argue from like the Christian perspective that women need God. And so I just have like a couple clarifying questions on if you guys like acknowledge any historical literature on the existence of Jesus Christ. Do you guys think he actually existed?
I
He might
think
have
probably.
existed. Yeah, but I don't think that he was born of a virgin and did these like miracles.
Sure.
I also don't think that the stuff attributed to him in the Bible, I doubt he really said really much of any of that stuff. But I do think he was probably a person at one point or time. Yeah.
It's really the only things that can be like kind of academically bolted down are kind of him existing and that he was crucified. So I could totally, I'm right there with you guys. I hear you on your objections to maybe some of the things attributed to him that may have not happened or don't have a lot of proof to them or evidence, I guess. Are you guys, or without, I don't want to, I'll just say, let's say, are you guys aware of like cultural treatment of women? Let's say any time before Jesus. Kind of cultural norms, marriage norms.
Yeah,
maybe.
relatively.
So, sorry,
Okay.
I want to just like, so is the argument that the Bible coming into the cultural norms created a better environment for women moving forward?
I think that people, thousands of years after Jesus' existence, say things out of context because they live after his existence. So they are not comparing it to a time before Jesus, just because we've all only been born in a time after his death and after all his cultural, I guess, things that changed about culture that are at least attributed to him. I know you guys don't believe he said a lot of those things, but like orphanages, hospitals, marriage, these things that are like historically attributed to the easing of women's lives, the lessening of oppression. You guys believe in any of that, or maybe you guys just think it was medicine?
Oops. I think it was probably a combination of things. I feel like it would be a pretty wild statement to like just attribute it to Christianity, but I also wouldn't say, oh, Christianity had no part in it at all, because I don't genuinely know. But I do know, if they helped women, they also harmed them in a lot of ways. It kind of reminds me of when people say that Christianity is the reason that there's no more slaves in the United States, enslaved people, and yet they had a slave Bible to also keep them enslaved at one point. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, nuanced, I guess.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, personally, that was something that was really attractive when I started reading the Bible about Jesus. Was like his kind of critique of the religious people, and yeah, I think, yeah, I understand that. I mean, you can't deny that both are true. That the abolition movement was like led by Christians, but I mean, a lot of people call themselves Christians to justify all types of things.
It's interesting that you're bringing that up now, like especially with what's going on in the US, where we have immigrants being demonized, picked up off of the street, and it's a movement that is largely encouraged by conservative Christian folks, which is interesting because Jesus was a brown man and an immigrant, and so he probably would be one of those people who would have gotten picked up. And there are plenty of verses in the Bible where they reference feeding the people who need it, housing the people who need it, and that people who are rich are
I don't
not
mean to cut
making
you
it
off.
into heaven.
America's not a Christian country. I mean, any sort of Christian nationalism that flourishes here is really it's really fascism and sort of a disguise that's palpable to the populace here. But I don't want to entertain this idea that America's a Christian country. I mean, there's a lot of people who call themselves Christian, but estimates are like there's 2 billion Christians in the world. There's 300 million Americans, and half of them are some of the fakest Christians I've ever met. A lot of Christians around the world are women of color. That's another thing I wanted to talk about is how many women are Christians and how many women believe in God around the world. Because we live in like the West, like everyone here is an atheist materialist, but I mean, you go anywhere else, there's all types of women who attribute all types of things to God. What say you to that?
Well, I want to say something first about what you said about like the not true Christian thing. I can appreciate a Christian who pushes back against Christian nationalism, but to me, they're just as much of a Christian as you are, because there are different things they point to in the Bible and ignore other things. There's definitely a lot of parts in the Bible that are authoritarian, so it makes sense to me why a lot of Christians would be okay with authoritarianism. Also, there are different things in the Bible that are very violent, where God commands violence. They also think violence is going to happen at the end times. So to me, it's just not far off. And I wouldn't call them fake Christians. And I wouldn't say we're inherently a Christian nation, but I would say right now, yeah, we're a Christian nationalist country for sure.
I think, yeah, I just don't know. That's a thing people say, and maybe I'm just living in kind of an echo chamber, but yeah, I don't see this nation as Christian nationalists. That's like Poland or something. They really hold it down there, like a whole hegemony.
Wait, so what is Christian nationalism? What does Christian nationalism mean to you?
I mean, I don't know. It would probably be definitionally those two words put together, but in practice, in America,
and that's who's running our country.
Yeah, in America, I just don't know exactly how Christian it is. It's just to me, it's like a guise for some, government overreach, like how you guys brought out, like the ICE deporting people and stuff. That's a lot of those videos are brutal to watch. That's tough to watch. I mean, I would hardly say that's Christian, but I totally get it that we're going nowhere with that, because I mean, those people are just as much self-proclaiming Christians as like I am or whatever. So I get that it's not like a provable thing that they're fake and I'm real, but
so Curtis, I want to get back to like the original thing, which was that women do need God. So what?
Yes.
What's your case for that specifically?
Well, I would just say like the historical case of like Jesus as someone who claimed to be God and reveal God, and then the quality of life of women and the amount of women who choose to worship him as God and attribute their well-being to God. And I understand that atheists think that, like, I'm not saying this is like it's logical to think that that's like a coping mechanism to get through this life. But, I mean, obviously I could just say the same thing about atheism. So beyond it being a cope, what about God is so attractive to, let's say, women in particular, because most Christians are women. So you guys being women, what about God attracts women? And why have you guys like skirted the cope?
It didn't attract me very much. So like I never really, like, even as a kid, I was like not super into it. So so I would not be a good person to answer that question.
I also don't know if that's
I'm arguing that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was looking up at that statistic of women being, probably because, I mean, my guess part of it would maybe be like the oppression of women in general, but also like the roles they are told they need to play. Because also our society tells them they need to play certain roles that I feel like tie into religion without people recognizing it. But that's just my thought. Why do they believe it? I think they're just indoctrinated. I think most people believe something because they were indoctrinated by it. We know, like in the United States, like I think it's 94% of people who believe in God are born into the religion. So I imagine that's what it's like around the world.
Okay. And then, obviously, I mean, I hear you. Yeah, but you could argue colonialism, and yeah. So you would attribute it to, I mean, and let's speak plainly, like, so you would attribute it to, I mean, IQ?
No.
The reason why women believe? Well, what?
Yeah, because
what do you think?
I could be forced to do something and logically understand that it's not I mean, but people devoutly believe. Is it an IQ thing for you guys? Because most Christians aren't white people. They're brown and Asian. So, what do you mean that they like?
I've never thought of it as
your
an
guys'
intelligence
language
thing.
was like next level, like indoctrination and like.
It's not, but that's what it is, indoctrination. Very smart people can be indoctrinated. But also, if you're indoctrinated by things like fundamentalism, it actually does hurt your critical thinking skills and ability to take in new information. Does that mean they're dumb? No. but does that mean their critical thinking was harmed? Yes. But yeah, I don't think that people are stupid because they're religious. I don't think that at all.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is the quality of life for women post Jesus. And I'm going to ask a question. Would you guys kind of support the theory of evolution?
Yes.
In its current model?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys support the theory of evolution. You're pretty much in line with the academics that Jesus at least existed and was crucified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all right, so is Jesus as this spark, this evolutionary spark for humanity, where the quality of life for all humans, but especially women and children, it took a complete 180 from total oppression and bondage to less oppression and bondage. It's just factual. So what about Jesus is DNA, or what about him made in terms of evolution? Because obviously the oppression of women isn't bad if we're just evolved in the same way that animals are, because the women in every other animal kingdom, all other aspects of the animal kingdom, it's pure oppression. It's just rape.
How
and
do you know the only reason there was progress for women is because of Jesus? What makes you believe that know that?
I would never say that. Would never say that. It's not the only reason at all. No. But I'm just saying,
Okay.
after
So
I think the treatment of women motivated by the fact that God spoke is undeniable.
But there's a lot of oppressive things in the Bible, specifically towards women as well. So I think that you can make the argument for either thing. And I also think it is...
But without the Bible, you just have the oppression until the Bible...
But I don't...
until the Bible came. You didn't have the other side. You didn't have the treat everyone how you want to be treated.
Yeah, I understand. I also
That's
think
false.
that... Period.
It is
Taylor?
false.
No, I understand the golden rule, but the golden rule always existed, but it was never mandated by God. It was never a guy saying that God is saying this. But I totally hear you. Yeah, the golden rule was around way before.
Who cares if it existed outside of God? What does that matter? If we're talking about women coming out of oppression.
The effect it had on people was that God spoke, so I should take it as the truth. That's what matters about it.
Why?
That's what the effect it had on people.
But why should I need a God to tell me how to not be a shitty person? I don't need a God to tell me not to kill.
This is we're getting into middle school Reddit stuff. You don't need that.
That's what you just said. You just said that the golden rule, the reason that we have it is because of God. I don't think that that's...
No, I'm saying that's why people took that as truth and lived it out, is because it wasn't just a thing that a guy came up with to them. They thought that God was a human and had said this, and so it was more pressing.
People are also believing their religion is truth as well. I don't understand your point. Even if they say it came from a man, who's to say they still don't take it seriously and integrate it into their morality? What you're saying is false.
Well, I'm just saying the historical pre and post Jesus. That's what I'm arguing for Christianity.
What about everywhere else in the world?
Perspective. Say that again.
Do you know what all of the societies were like all around the world, and how women were treated in each one, and how they progressed?
Well, there was even complete matriarchal societies where women were at the top strata of. Totally. Yeah. I'm aware of all that.
So, but I also, Curtis, I'm confused about how. I'm confused about the significance of, because we have this conversation a lot where people say that the purpose one of the main purposes for Christianity is, you have the 10 Commandments, or if it's not even specifically the 10 Commandments, it gives you guidelines for how you should live your life. But there are other places where people can get those guidelines because they're like very basic. Like we understand not to kill people, etc.
They're all intuitive. Yeah, the Bible says that they're all intuitive. They're all written on everyone's heart.
So then why
you
would
never
we
need to open a Bible to know the 10 Commandments.
Right. So then why do we need, what is the purpose of God being the one? Because even if hypothetically, so like I could make a case for all of the things in the Bible being completely made up, Jesus not being real, God not being real, someone writing a fictional book to the likes of Harry Potter.
I'm right there with you. Yep.
So you could do all of that, and it doesn't make me a believer in God, and it wouldn't add value to my life now to believe that God was real. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I'm just saying that, yeah, you live in a world, it's like you live in a world where the fumes are like barely still here in the atmosphere of all the Christian fumes that got you to this place of, I've got women, I'm saying, to this place. It's like
Curtis,
it's lack of historical context. Say that again.
Are you talking like I think you need to clarify some things. Are you talking specifically like just about America, or what are you talking about?
No, not just America, the whole world. Since 2,000 years ago.
But Curtis, then when I say other societies have had this like rule of like treat your neighbor how you want to be treated or whatever. They were Hindu. They were Hindu. They had gods. Yes, they had gods. They had goddesses.
Yes,
that's
they
what
all
I've been
believe
trying
in God,
to say.
right? All right, okay. So what are you trying to say? They all believe in God. Got it.
I don't really understand what you're trying to say. Like I can't. I'm not super clear on what your position is about why women need God.
Because it's only been like the number one driving factor in their, I don't know, I don't want to say freedom, like cornball, but yeah, like their liberation over the past 2,000 years.
But that's not really even true. That's not really even true.
The Bible, disbelief in God.
The Bible talks about women like they are quite literally property. So like I don't think that's true at all. And we also
demonstrably true.
We also still have things that women are going back and forth on today. So today, the Conservative Christian Party took away our right to freedom of choice. That is like, I don't really understand. So why would I need God to take away my freedoms? Abortion, to abort
that's a big
pregnancy
reason why people don't like God. That's a big reason why people hate God, is because he limits your actions.
I don't like God because I don't think he's a good person. So, and I also don't think he's real. So I still don't think he's real.
Curtis,
so like I don't really like hate God, but
when you say a belief in God is the whole reason women like have what they have now or whatever.
No, it's the main driving force, and it's like not like, I would love for you guys to tell me what was the bigger driving force than that.
I think there are all different. I think there are
the unique Christian
in women's freedom
that all humans are created equally.
A bigger driving force than God. Is that the question?
No, then
in women's
specifically
freedom.
Jesus, specifically the teachings of Jesus. But yeah, that's God to me. But the teachings of Jesus.
Okay, so historically, Christian communities do not want women to have freedom. They do not want them to have the right to vote, or they did not want them to have the right to vote, to own property. They didn't want them. Actually, the Salem witch trials were driven by Christians, and the Salem witch trials were largely over women who were gaining property. Like historically, over and over and over again, Christians have tried to take from women over and over again. So like I'm confused as to how, like, when we talk about like the modern landscape of who in this world is trying to push the rights of women, stereotypically, it's going to be like liberal, bra burning, suffragette, whatever. And most of the time, the people who are fighting for conservatism, for traditional values, quote unquote, are Christians. So,
all right, I hear that. Okay, so the argument is that, like, yeah, like, because you guys haven't addressed any, like, maybe I haven't brought them up, but yeah, it's like, I mean, just like even hospitals and orphanages in general, like women, or girls, I guess, girls are the most oppressed group in human history. It's like they're still like systematically killed in countries, even up to like a decade ago. And so much of that was stopped because this idea that women and children are the most innocent, and you got to be like a kid to inherit the kingdom of God. All this shit that Jesus was saying. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, that's why there's scripture on every hospital and university. What about the fact that a lot of I don't mean it. Yeah. Oh, sorry, there was a delay. Go ahead.
What about the fact that a lot of Christian men oppress women because they think that the Bible is telling them that women need to be silent or women need to be submissive or whatever the hell they want to pick from the Bible? Like, does that all just go away?
Yeah.
And how do you know? How do you know that one outweighs the other? As in, like, we're getting more benefits than cons. Like, how on earth would you measure that?
Well, you can judge everything by the results. You can judge everything by the fruit. And to your first point, that's the attraction of Jesus to me. Is one of the things that he said is that people will call themselves Christians or call themselves followers of God their whole life and totally miss the mark and never. And God will have to say on Judgment Day that I never knew them. So I mean, is it that? I mean, what
is the benefit of women having God?
Removing the Bible, what's your view of history? Like,
wait,
did the Bible come and make
the
people?
Bible isn't a history book.
Before that, I just want to address. I want to address what you said. What you just said. I want to address what you just said, because you said that there are a lot of people who claim to be Christians, and are not. They don't act that way.
They'll go to hell. They'll go to hell when they die, and they live their whole life telling everyone they're a Christian.
Right. So then why are you telling me that people need God? Because it obviously doesn't help people behave. They literally have the threat of eternal damnation, and they still are not behaving. So, like, what is the benefit?
Jesus, yeah. Well, when a large group of people believe in God, everyone gets treated better.
That's obviously not true. We
it's so
Curtis,
true.
What about the fact?
You have such a narrow view of Christians. You have such a bigoted view of American Christians. You have such a bigoted view of all you think about is these bigots in America.
American Christians are bigoted, Curtis. We were just talking earlier about how they're bigoted, and you.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you. But the world is filled with Christians.
Hold
on.
And
not all American Christians are bigots. You're so narrow-minded.
Why?
No one said that all of them are. No one said that all of them are.
Why is it that the more Christian, the more devoted to God our entire government gets, it gets worse? And they're believing in a God.
Think the people in the government are devoted to God? I have an absolute pink elephant to sell you, sister. If you think government officials are
so listen. Even if they don't believe in God, they are using people who do believe in God to make our society worse. So believing in God doesn't equal, like, more Christians doesn't equal good. It never has.
Oh, okay. I hear you. I hear that. I just think it's demonstrably false. I understand that currently in this fucking social experiment that America is, I get that there's a ton of wicked people, totally. But like you say, like these little remarks you say that like Christians want to take away your freedom of choice. Like, are you? I mean, I think you're talking about abortion. And I hear you, but like, let's not act like it's the choice between like mayo and mustard on your sandwich. Like it's the it's like a
What?
choice that has like, yeah, like the freedom of choice of abortion. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Like those are
Abortion and
that's
birth
like,
control, for the record.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Okay,
things
yeah.
beyond just
Yeah.
abortion.
Yes. Okay, heard that. I hear that totally, but it's not like the freedom for women to choose. Like, I mean, you can do. There's nothing that women can't do now, and so much of that has been attributed to a society that was built on this like belief
No,
of equality.
it was attributed to other women in the past fighting for their rights. If you were to ask me, who's the reason in America that you're allowed to vote and have a credit card and own property, my thought isn't Jesus. It's the women who literally
Neither
like
is mine.
basically
Yeah,
sacrifice
yeah.
themselves to give
Right,
help
so-
us have future
Right. Yeah. If you
generations have
said
their
like
freedoms.
So when
yeah,
you're
if you
talking
if
about
you told
when
me
you're
like
saying that
who
this
was
is demonstrably false, that it's demonstrably
it's
false
demonstrably
that
true.
yeah, then demonstrate
it's demonstrably
it.
true
Then
that
demonstrate
Christianity
it in
changed the
literally
world for the
any
better.
way. It is
demonstrably
demonstrably
true.
not true. Do you know
Even if you believe that,
what
now
Quality
it's
of
religion the
changing
life,
for the worse.
KKK aligns with? Like, what do you
the whole
mean?
scientific endeavor started. The whole scientific endeavor was spearheaded by people who believed in God. All societal norms that we cling to that are all about treating disabled people and women and children. Total religious idea. Okay, those people have been discarded forever. Yeah, and society was brutal and oppressive, and it was like, I would say like it's a standard deviation worse pre-spread of Christianity. And then I could go down and list like all the things that were terrible before and that got better. And women are living on this planet directly benefiting from that. You don't even have to go to church. Just a shout out to the big guy in the sky.
I could not agree with you less. And I don't think that you have demonstrated
you've done nothing to like
point.
say that. So expand on that. Hit and go. Like how
Curtis,
how is that not true?
what if I could easily bring up things like the Crusades, the Inquisition, the witch burnings, and all of those people did that in the name of God. Just like our government, just like our government is doing it in the name of God. And if you just brush it off and say, oh, whatever, they're not true Christians, so Christianity actually is doing nothing, like is doing a bunch of good. That's a cop-out. That is a cop-out. That is not a real...
I'm just saying
Curtis,
it's the fact. I'm just saying it's the fact that people lie.
It's not a fact. Okay, I'm muting you. I don't know if it's because there's a delay or not, but you just keep talking over us, so I'm just going to mute you for a second, and then I'll unmute you. You just keep moving the goalpost over and over and over again. So stop telling me that it's fucking Reddit, because we do this for a living. I'm here every single week. You have not demonstrated to me in a single tangible way, in any way that God has given women freedoms. It is very, like, unbelievably obvious that Christianity favors traditional gender roles where a woman would stay home, she wouldn't have a job, she wouldn't be able to have birth control, she wouldn't be able to own a property. Like, I can't understand, like, how are you even getting there? And you have not given us a single example. And on top of that, you are deciding who's a real Christian and who's not a real Christian, which is actually not your job to do based on your religion. Not your job to do.
Yeah. I want to say something too. You attributing positive things to Christianity, and then when I bring up things like the Inquisition and the Crusades and stuff like that, you saying, well, there's bad people and they're not true Christians. That's just avoiding any responsibility at all as to what people can do with the idea of God. It's the same people who, when something terrible happens, they're like, you know what, it's a mystery, or God works in mysterious ways. And then when something good happens, they're like, that was God, I know it, that was his plan all along. It's such a cop-out. These are the same things.
It's look up the no true Scotsman fallacy. That is exactly what you're doing. Okay, I'm unmuting you. I'm unmuting you now. You're unmuted.
I will be off the line shortly. So you guys have been heard. I will. So like bring up the Inquisition, the witch burnings. I'm not saying that those aren't real Christians or whatever. I'm not like sitting here like whatever 500 years after these things happen and like deciding who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. But what I am saying is biblically, like that's a teaching that we understand as Christians or whatever, that there will be people who call themselves Christians and do terrible things.
You're just repeating yourself. You're just repeating yourself.
I know, but you guys are pointing out. No, I'm just saying that's what the Bible says will happen in reality. You guys are just pointing to like people, like Christians who have done terrible things, and like you're just pointing to
good things. And you're just at the very beginning of this, Curtis. At the very beginning of this, you asked me if I think that Christianity attributed to like basically anything good or anything good with women. And I said I thought it was a nuanced answer because I think there are some things that Christianity obviously shaped. And I'm not exactly sure. But I'm not exactly sure in which ways, because like I said, it'll be like the slavery thing. But what you're doing is not having a nuanced conversation. And whenever I bring up something bad, you just say they weren't Christians. That is a way to avoid all accountability and sweep it all under the rug.
No.
That is what you're doing. That's what you just repeated just now, again.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that when people become Christian, that doesn't mean that there's like a force field around them and they'll never transgress against someone. They'll do evil things while all believing in God. But all I'm saying is that like the evil that's supposedly in the Bible or the violence that's in the Bible, I don't think any of that is an affirmation or a New Testament, a new covenant like direction or order from Jesus. There's none of that in the New Testament.
Is Jesus and God the same person?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he commanded immoral stuff in the Old Testament?
Three persons, but yeah.
Right, so that same God, so Jesus is God, and he is still part of what happened in the Old Testament. Did he, like, these are not two completely separate gods, even though you guys try and make it out
not at all
to be that way?
No, just get to the quick of your point, because I hear your point, but yeah.
What we're saying is still applying. Like, you're saying, oh, forget about the stuff in the Old Testament, even if it was, like, really fucked up.
I didn't just say that. I did not say forget about the stuff in the Old Testament. Okay. But you have to realize that from the Christian worldview, there's a new covenant. That's what we believe. And so it's an old world, a brutish world, where even without the Bible, did wars not happen? Did man-stealing not happen? Did rape not happen?
So, yeah, but we still have rape, we still have war, we still have all of those things. So your argument is that sometimes some people are good Christians, and sometimes that influences some people to make some good choices.
Yeah, and I'm saying that's significant if we're talking about the history of the earth, and women have benefited and been those people who change society for the better. And they say crazy things like, I do this because of God or my belief in Jesus.
What do you mean by crazy things?
I think we're gonna talk in circles for a long time. Curtis, if you would like to call back with another time with solid examples, like this war or whatever, like give me solid examples, because we're talking in circles. You've been repeating the no true Scotsman fallacy over and over and over again.
Don't try to hurt my feelings at the end. I'm sorry. You guys were so nice. No, don't ruin this.
No one's trying to hurt your feelings. You are welcome to call back anytime.
I did not do the no true Scotsman fallacy.
You did. That's what that is.
You did. You said those people aren't real Christians. Those people aren't real Christians.
That's not my argument. That is not my argument. I'm stating
that's not your whole argument. That's not your whole argument, but that was a supporting part of it.
All I'm saying is that the person I worship, who is Jesus, he acknowledges that reality. He acknowledges the reality of bum-ass Christians, and he said, hardly any of them get to heaven. That was my point. Wasn't my whole argument. You guys have a great day. This was a fruitful conversation. Take it easy.
Bye.
Like, I hope he listens back to the call. I don't want to like talk down on anybody, but I don't think that he like has conversations that are like debates like this really. And like it just like we were not moving. Like it was just the same thing over and over again. And like I'm asking you for like a solid example and you won't give us one. And we're giving you the example of abortion, birth
Something
control,
negative.
not being able to own property, not being able to work, like like those are all things that like I'm confused.
Yeah. I feel like my biggest issue is when I think about like how it causes harm, I can literally say things in history that happened or what is happening right now.
Yeah.
But when he tells us that Jesus is so good for women, it's just this like blanket abstract idea that we're just supposed to accept instead of being like it was this, it was this, it was this. Like that's what like Curtis, if you ever call back, that's what you need. You need a list to or like something to explain what you're even saying. If you come to the table with absolutely no examples, I feel like your argument doesn't mean anything, and on top of that you're not willing to admit the terrible things that they've done either.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if he was a troll, but that was just it was like getting to be annoying. Anyway, we do have some other calls, but I want to just remind you all that if you are not a part of our Patreon, you should join the Patreon because there's lots of bonus content on there. There's LineCon, there's Zoom calls, there's lots of fun stuff. So you can go to patreon.com/calltheline. It's also a great way to support all of the shows on the line at a very low cost. It's a monthly donation, but it's like pretty low level of entry. So if you want to support our show and all of the other ones, that's a really great way to do it. And did I say great way? I might have. I'll listen to it. I'll listen back to it. Lux, did I?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll listen to it later and I might have. Wait, was I? I don't think it was. If I said it on chewed gum, I don't think I said it while you were here, Taylor, because I think this happened a little while ago. But I was trying to film a video about there's a lot of like of words in women's arousal anatomy or like female arousal anatomy that are the root of them are Greek words. And so I kept saying I was recording a video about all of these different words and the roots of all the words and whatever, and I just kept saying over and over again, Greek word, over and over again. And I was like, and the root of this Greek word, I was like, I can't. And like,
oh, that's so funny.
I literally had to like
Greek.
take a lap because I was like, Greek word. I was like, oh, I was like, terrible.
Greek word.
Anyway.
I love that.
Anyway, we have the schedule, so I'm going to read the rest of the shows for the rest of the week. So tomorrow we have the Hang Up with Matt and Jovan. Then we have TACIS on Thursday with Ben and Josie. Cus I Wanna at 6 p.m. on Friday. Wait. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. With John and Ben. And then we're looping around to the Sunday show at 2 p.m. Matt and Justin will be on. And then later at 7 p.m., Forrest and Paul. And Luxander, are you producing or are you on? Producing. Okay. And then Skeptalk at 6 p.m. on Monday with John and Paul. And then we're back to Chewed Gum. And we're back here, which is so exciting. Whoop whoop. Okay. I'm dying in the the chat is just
saying
like
different words with W.
Chewed Guam. Chewed Guam. Oh my god, this is so funny. Oh my god. Okay. We do have
what's soup looping?
Oh my god, soup looping. Was that? I thought that you were here for that.
Maybe it was Arden.
Oh, maybe. Okay. So when one time we were starting the show and I was I was eating soup like right before, and something happened where it kept like clipping and playing that same part over again of me just talking about soup. And it also was like we were not supposed to be live. Like I didn't realize we were live, so I was talking about soup. I didn't realize we were live, and then the clip just keeps playing over and over again. And so then we called it the soup loop.
During the Brain Don't Stop. It was like weirdly looping in with the music. It was crazy.
Yeah, okay. I did a live today and somebody said that. They were like said something about Alyssa soup looping. And for some reason, I thought they were saying something sexual about you, and I was like, can we not? I don't know, because sometimes people try and play with me with words and they're like, no, it's this. I was like, you know what, never mind. I'm an idiot. It's fine.
I understand, because every now and then I'm like, I'm just sure someone's gonna say something that's like that I'm not getting, and so I would have probably done the same thing. I would have been like, you're disgusting. Just assuming that it's terrible. Okay, so we have some theists who are waiting on the line. Do you have any preference of who you would like to pull in?
Yeah, Zalos, if I'm saying that right.
Okay, let's pull him in. Zalos, calling from India. Hi, how's it going?
It's going really great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for calling. Explain to us what you wanted to talk about.
Well, I would like to present an argument arguing for God's existence.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, well, I would like to begin with God's definition. What do I mean by the word God? So, my definition is that God is one entity that continuously causes and sustains the existence of all things at every moment and is omnipotent. And by omnipotent, we mean an entity which is the source of all power. So I think we should proceed premise by premise. I have multiple premises and then a conclusion and so on. So can I get a confirmation after each premise? Can I get a confirmation that you do agree to a particular premise? Can we do that?
Well, sure. The only thing is, it might not get us far in the whole theory, because I don't agree with this first one, that that there's a God responsible for all things. And the first thing I thought of is sometimes people call and they have a claim that's like, we don't know or we don't understand, therefore God. And it sort of like fills in the blank, which is not, like, I don't think that makes sense. So we're already, I don't know if it makes sense to agree with every one of the premises along the way.
Okay. So yeah, well, I would not argue in that way. I would not say something like, well, we do not know the cause of this, therefore God. That definitely is a weak argument. I would like to begin with the premises that change exists, that, things change in the world. A hot cup of coffee becomes a cool cup of coffee. A moving car becomes a still car, and the still car becomes a moving car, and so on and so on. So change exists. That's the first premise. The second premise is that change is the actualization of a potential. So, for instance, if I have a hot cup of coffee, it has the potential to become a cool cup of coffee, right? But my cup of coffee doesn't have the potential to, for instance, understand the Pythagoras theorem. Right. So there are things which have certain potentials, and when those potentials are actualized, we say that there was a change. So, for instance, if I have a bottle which is standing still and it's upright, it has the potential to be in a fallen state. It could have been in a fallen state, right? So, if it is standing upright, then if its potential was actualized, that potential to have been in a fallen state, if that potential was actualized, we would say that change occurred, right? So the second premise is that change is the actualization of potential. And if you want me to give a definition of potential, here's a quick definition. The possibility for something to exist in a different form or mode of existence than its current mode of existence or its current form. So, for instance, if we have water, which is existing at 50 degrees Celsius, it has the potential to be 60, 70, 80, and so on. That is what we mean by the word potential, right? Okay.
Okay.
So, these are the two premises, and from these two premises, it logically follows that therefore actualization of potential exists. First premise was change exists. Second premise is change is the actualization of a potential. Third is therefore therefore actualization of a potential exists. That's the third one. And then the fourth premise is that a potential cannot actualize itself. There must be something actual to actualize a potential. So, for instance, if I have a hot cup of coffee, in order for it to have existed in order for it to exist in a coolant state, there must be cool air around that coffee, right? So, if a hot cup of coffee exists, the potential coolness of that cup is actualized by the actually cool air present around it, right? So, the idea is that any change, whatever potential actualizes itself, it happens because of some actual cause. There is some actual cause behind some actualization of potential. Another example, which is my personal favorite, is that, again, I take the example of my bottle, the water bottle which is sat on my table. It has the potential to have been in a fallen state, but right now it's standing upright, right? So if some actual force is applied on it, it will fall. So its potential cannot actualize itself. We need something actual. For instance, if my hand goes and strikes the bottle will fall. So we need something actual. My actual hand, if it strikes the bottle, it will fall. So we need something actual to actualize the potential. That's the fourth one. That's the fourth premise.
Okay.
The fifth is that therefore change is caused by. Sorry, I'm so sorry. The sixth. I'm so sorry. I just messed up the numbering. So the fifth statement is that change is caused by something actual. Okay. Are we in agreement up until now?
Yes. So far, it feels like you're describing like physics. You know, like the rules of physics and motion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. So how many more of the premises do you have?
Somewhere around 12 more premises.
Okay, let's do an abridged version because we do have a time limit on this show. So
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
and then you can use those premise to support your argument. But generally, what is how does these theories of motion, how do they connect back to the existence of God to you?
Yeah. So if you have any object S, let's say, okay, let's call that object S. If you have any object, it either has multiple potentials or it does not. It either has the potential to have been in a different state or it doesn't. So if you say that I have an object which has a potential to have existed in a different state, it's possible that it could have existed in a different way. If I have a bottle, it could have been blue, it could have green, it could have been black, but right now it's white, and so on. If you admit there is an object which has potentials, it has the potential to change, then you have to say that there must be some actual cause behind this particular potential. Right now, if it's white, there must be some reason, some actual cause, some actual reason behind because of which it's white. So,
those reasons have nothing to do with God. Like the reason why this mug is white is because we made a design choice for it to be white. We told the manufacturer to make it white, and then the manufacturer found the right blend of materials to make a white mug. That's not God. That's just like making choices and then using the materials available to us. And it's also like it's also the other part of it too is we're able to make a white mug because we have the materials to do it. And in the same way, we have the materials to do it, so we figured out how to make a mug. I would like to levitate across the room right now. I can't do that because I was not given the tools or the materials to be able to do that. So it's like it feels like I could prove the lack of existence of God because I can't do whatever I want. I can only do with what I have here.
Well, I see your point. But I think I will be able to connect all of this to God if I draw a distinction. Well, I would like to draw a distinction between two kinds of series. One is a linear series and another is a hierarchical series. So a linear series is one in which we go back and forth in time. And so, for instance, my father caused me, and his father caused him, and his father caused him, and so on and so on. So this is a linear series because we are going back in time, right? So, and another example could be I can give birth to my child, and they can give uh, birth to their child, and so on and so on. We could go forward in time. So these kinds of series are linear because uh, the movement of time is involved here. And uh, one interesting fact about linear series is that if my father causes me, and if he pops out of existence, if he disappears, that doesn't prevent me from existing, and that doesn't prevent me from continuing the series. I can still have my children, and they can have their children, and so on. So in a linear series,
Wait,
if a particular element,
sorry.
once it has played its sorry.
I want to clarify, sorry, what you just said. So you're saying if your father disappears after you have already been born, that
Yes,
doesn't stop
exactly.
you from procreate. Yeah, but that's because you are a physical. That is exactly what I was just saying. Because you're using the physical
Mm,
materials that are available to you that have nothing to do with your dad. So you are able to use your
mhm,
physical body to procreate if you
mhm.
choose to do that. That has nothing to do with
That is
God.
exactly right.
That's
Yeah.
science.
Well, I was just going to connect that to God. I'll just need a couple of minutes. Well, so that's an example of a linear series. I would like to describe what a hierarchical series is. So what happens in a hierarchical series is that we do not go back and forth in time as we did in linear series. We fix a particular point in time, and at that particular point in time, we look at some series of dependence. So, for instance, if I'm hanging on a cliff and there is a man sat above me who has grabbed my hand, and there is another man above him who has grabbed his hand, and there is another man above him who has grabbed his hand, and so on and so on. This kind of a series could not go on infinitely. This kind of a series has to have a beginning, a source, because I do not have the capacity to sustain myself in my position. I need to derive that power from the person who is sat above me, and they themselves do not have the power to sustain themselves in their position. They need to derive that particular power from someone who sat above them, and so on and so on. So each element, you could think of this as a series having multiple elements. So each element is dependent on another element and deriving a causal power, a particular causal power at that very instant, right? At that particular instant. So for example, another example which I like to give is that there's a cup of coffee which is sat on a table, and the table is sat on the floor, and the floor is supported by the building, and so on. So the cup of coffee is deriving the power to sustain its position from the table, and the table also does not have that particular power. It is itself deriving from the floor, and so on and so on. This kind of a series cannot go on infinitely. There must be some beginning point for a hierarchical sort of series. Um, are we in agreement to that? Mm-hmm.
I'll be
I
honest,
feel like
I'm not sure where we're at with these.
so I feel like
We're just gonna connect that with God. We're so close.
what I feel like we are what we're doing right now is a lot of analogies that are just explaining cause and effect and that are just
Mm-hmm.
explaining like physics. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to like speed this up to how this connects to the existence
Okay.
of God.
So we are almost there. Okay, we are almost there. So these are two kinds of series, a linear and a hierarchical. And the main difference between the two is that in a hierarchical we do not go back and forth in time. We fix a particular point in time, and at that particular point in time, each element has to derive some particular power from another element, and that element from which the power is being derived, that itself needs to derive it from something else. Um, so this is an example of a hierarchical series. So the main argument is that if some object exists, right, that object either has the potential to change, either that object has the capacity to have existed in a different form, or it does not. That's just that should be an uncontroversial claim. So if you say that yes, this object has the particular potential to change, it could have existed in different ways, then the question is that the potential in which it is right now, the form, whatever the form of that object is right now, there must be some actual cause behind it at this moment. not back in time, but at this moment, there must be some actual cause because of which a particular potential is being actualized. So if you say that, yeah, we have an object and it has multiple potentials and it could have existed in different forms, and if I ask the question, well, why is it existing in one particular form, you will give me some reason. Let's call that cause A. You say that it's because of A. Okay, sure. Now the same question applies to A, and we say that either A has multiple potentials or it does not. Either it has the capacity or potential to change or it does not. And if it does, then again, there must be some actual cause because of which it is existing in a particular form right now at this moment, and so on and so on and so on. So this kind of a series is a hierarchical series. And if you've agreed to my initial point, which is that hierarchical series cannot go on infinitely, the linear series, I can grant you that the linear series can go on back in, ad infinitum. The past could be infinite. I can grant you that for the sake of argument. But in a hierarchical series, it has to have a beginning. And this kind of a series has a hierarchical series structure. So we would say that this kind of a series must terminate somewhere. And at that point on which it terminates, that entity should be something unchanging. It should not have the potential to have changed. Because if you said that it does have a potential to change, the next question would be, again, there must be some actual cause because of which it is existing in the way it is existing. So at the end of the series, you have to say that there is one entity at least, which is unchanging. It doesn't change. It doesn't have the potential to be something else. And that is what we call purely actual actualizer, or a purely actual entity, or actuality itself, depending on what suits you. This is what we would establish. Mm-hmm.
I don't think me and Alyssa are equipped for this. I think you need to call Forrest, because
I mean, the problem that we're running into here is that there's a presumption that all things must be caused by a causer, and that things could not possibly be caused by simply the laws of thermodynamics. And so, yes, I don't really feel like this is going to go anywhere.
Yes. I think basically you're just describing things that we have explanations for. But yeah, maybe Forrest might be a person who might be more interesting to talk to about this, because at this point, like I feel like everything that you're describing is just like cause and effect. It's like physics. It's stuff that we have answers for, and it also feels like we're falling into that whole thing of, even when we don't understand, that means we fill in the gaps with God, which doesn't make sense either.
Okay. So, yeah, it was a good conversation. Have a nice day, guys.
Thank you, Zalos.
Bye.
Okay. Who misses Andrew? I'm just getting like a feel for the chat. Yeah, I'm just getting a feel for the chat. We do have another theist who's been waiting a really long time, and so I want to pull Olivia in, because she's been so patient. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for waiting so long.
So I was actually mainly calling in about that video that you uploaded today, Alyssa, about more or less like, I guess you could say the faults of like trying to reach men on the left, and like trying to reach men who are not on the left. So I don't know if you want to like give, I guess, a breakdown of that video first, or if we should just like assume people have already seen it.
Yeah, well, so like I'll give the general gist is stuff that this chat has heard before, especially because I had like a whole meltdown to the likes of that whole ideology recently, where I like kind of yelled at chat. So they know, I think, generally what it is. But I'll just say, like, I made a video on my YouTube channel about like where we are, the state of masculinity, and how I think that we need to be able to actually do something, which means we cannot move forward with the fuck all men ideology, and it's not gonna move us forward. I feel like that's like the gist, right, Olivia? I don't know.
Yeah, it's about. Yeah, I would say so. And I do largely agree with a lot of what you said in that video. I wanted to talk about it because I feel like it is an issue that it's an issue that the left has had for a long time lately, like the last, I'd say, 10 years or so, where there's a bit of a charisma issue, I think, that comes up because at the end of the day, the if you're talking about like the male loneliness epidemic and like how men get radicalized so often and so easily, it's really easy to point at like people like influencers like Andrew Tate and people like that, just like taking advantage of them being isolated for various reasons. But I feel like it's a much deeper issue than that, because at the end of the day, like Fresh and Fit and those other like podcast bros, they're taking advantage of a situation that already exists for them to be able to actually manipulate men like that. So I think that that's more of a symptom than the actual key issue. I think the key issue really revolves down to it's really hard for men to make friends. And like, I feel pretty strongly on this because there's no shortage of stories of like trans men talking about how much harder it is to like develop a social life after they transition. Unfortunately, those stories get like co-opted by right wingers a lot, so it's kind of tricky to use them as evidence of anything. But I think that there's definitely something that there's opportunity to extend an olive branch to those men to like help them not be quite so angry at the world in general, because I think that women just kind of fall into that default thing to blame for a lot of men.
Yeah, and like I understand why women fall into that, and I think that many times it is super justified, but and this is like what I freaked out about last week, because people were getting in our chat were getting frustrated with my wanting to take calls from a person who like can be kind of offensive and whatever, and like really he's like really in the man. So the response was like, stop taking his calls. Why are you so like apologetic for him? And my whole point was the alternative to having, as close as we can to respectful conversations. The alternative would be to tell all of these people to fuck off. And then the place where they're getting a nice warm welcome is this manosphere, where these people, like you said, are really charismatic. And that whole space is telling them that none of this is their fault. They are all high-value men. They can do whatever they want. Women are stupid, and you don't need to listen. Like, of course, they're hearing that, and they're like, that sounds awesome. And then that's where they go, because they don't feel welcome here, and they feel super welcomed over there. So, like, I completely understand.
And to add on to that, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
To add on to that, I think you also see that in other other right wing spaces like church. Like, it's really appealing for young guys to go to church because they see this environment that's like really positive and welcoming, and it's like, hey, all of you white guys who feel like all the women hate you on the left and like say blah blah blah, why don't you come here to church and we'll sing hymns and do whatever.
Yeah, and like I feel like Taylor, you can speak to this better than I can, even that so much of what the structure is in church favors men anyway.
Right, and like I think it really makes them feel special and tell them like they automatically have some kind of power from being a man in general. But I also think the Andrew Tate stuff, I don't think he has a big audience because there's a lot of people like that already. I think he has a big audience because he preys on weak and vulnerable people. And I've talked to multiple men like in my life who have talked to me about a terrible time in their life. It's usually when they're a teenager or young adult, where they almost got sucked into red pill stuff. It's kind of like cults where they go after people who already are struggling in some kind of way. And it's really sad to see, but since we were talking about the one caller, you can kind of see that in some young guys, you know, who call in, where they're in that space because maybe they haven't lived a lot of life, or they're upset about something, or they feel confused, and it's really shitty. I just see them as really much, very much, preying on vulnerable young men specifically, and then they keep them in that miserable spot by giving them the advice, if that's what you want to call it. And I mean, it's meant to obviously keep them miserable, or else they're going to stop listening to them. Like, what healthy person in a relationship freaking watches Andrew Tate? Literally nobody. Like,
Yeah.
Nobody who respects their wife or their girlfriend or their partner listens to Andrew Tate. So they know if men like actually got healthy advice, their shit would not last.
I think that you really hit the nail on the head there with comparing it to a cult, also, Taylor, because like, if you look at cults and like how people fall into them, they do always, you're right, they do always prey on people who are like emotionally vulnerable or feel beaten down by the world. And I think that also lends to like Alyssa's point about how you can't really go fuck all men if you want to get anywhere, because at the end of the day, the only way you get people out of the cult is by like making sure that they still have a lifeline to latch onto once they realize they're in a cult.
Right.
Because if they don't have any options, then they just stay in the cult.
Yeah. It's and I kind of feel this way sometimes about like the MAGA situation too, where like that is so obviously a cult to me, and again, it's like I understand everyone's impulse, and like honestly, I join in on that too often, and I don't practice what I preach with that, but like I understand the impulse to be like, fuck you guys, you suck, you're ruining everything. But then when there is like a little crack in the foundation for the Manosphere people, for the MAGA people, whatever, they're going to be a lot less likely to come to us and be like, I actually have some questions about this. So that's why, like, when we get those calls from Andrew, I want to take them because, and I've said this like so many times now, but like, I want to take them because he is willing to have the conversation. And so if we can get him to at least broaden what he is consuming in some way, you never know what will be the crack in the foundation for him, or the crack in the foundation for someone. I've said crack so many times. For someone who might be watching, someone who might be watching who feels similarly to him. And so I don't know. We have to have some soft place, welcoming place for people to land.
I feel like also part of it is just like the fact that there's not a lot of positive, well, you also touched on this in your video, but like the lack of positive male role models, like, period. But also like positive male spaces, because like, okay, so for context, I'm a trans woman, so I'm obviously not a man, but I did spend quite a bit of time pretending to be one. So I got a pretty good view of like just how social life works as a man, and like you're not left with a lot of options as far as like spaces to be in. You kind of end up being like a gym bro, a gamer, or like part of the LGBTQ. And 2 out of 3 of those are like pretty misogynistic as a whole.
Yeah. No, they so are, and that's a good point, that a lot of things that men do or would be are told to like anyway. Like the gym thing is so heavily conservative. It's like disappointing to see. I know like obviously not everyone who works out is conservative, but it is like the content, whatever, is very overrun by conservatives, and so is the gaming. Oh my gosh, it's bad. I didn't even think about that really, but somebody called in not that long ago, and I pointed out, it's definitely like lack of community, and that's hard, especially for a lot of people in this current day and age. But yeah, definitely for men, I 100% agree.
Yeah, and I want men to find, like, I want there to be better people for them to look up to, that, like, because like you said, like the Andrew Tate and the Fresh and Fit, like they are really charismatic and they're telling them what these boys want to hear. And I said in my video also, we did a really good job of telling men what toxic masculinity looks like and like what we don't want to see from our men. We've communicated that over and over again, and then we gave like no real guidelines for, okay, well, now if we're releasing all of this stuff, then what is a guy supposed to look like now? And like you said, Olivia, it's like there are these like little boxes for men to fit into, and it's not as fluid, I think. Oh,
whoa.
Hello?
There's what is that?
Oh yeah, does anyone else hear that, or just me and Lux? There was like that was so weird. Okay, there was like a weird like ticking sound that was so weird. Okay, it's gone. That was so weird. Anyway, yeah. So and the other thing that's hard about it is, if I think all the time, like I would love to set up some sort of like a breakthrough weekend or something where like we get to have all of these men come in and dig into like what vulnerability, like having access to vulnerability, what that does for you, and like what could be available to you if you let go of some of this manosphere shit, and like how I can support you through that process, and your community can support you in that process beyond that too. But like getting those people in the door is fucking impossible. I don't know how. Like I've tossed the idea around of like, maybe I write a book. Like maybe I write a book about this whole thing because I'm so deeply interested in it and like invested in what is happening. And then I was like, okay, but the men who need to read it are not going to be the ones who read it. So it's like, I don't know how to reach this community in a way where it'll actually come across their desk. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, the way that me and my content come across their desk is when I've unintentionally or intentionally rage baited them, and they want to come into my comments and call me a whore all day. And so like, that's not helping either.
I think it's the kind of thing where, like, at the risk of sounding like I'm saying meet them in the middle, I think you do kind of literally have to go to traditionally masculine spaces. Like, a huge part of like learning to work through my own like internalized misogyny and stuff, even before I transitioned, was because I'm a big gamer myself. Not that I wasn't trying to throw shade on the gamers or the gym bros earlier, for the record. I go to the gym a lot too. But there's obviously a very high percentage of queer people who are also in the games. So I ended up getting exposure therapy in a lot of ways because of that. And that helped me come around, because I was like a full on, like, prior to doing a lot of self-reflection, I was like a full on Republican, anti-SJW in Gamergate times kind of thing. So there's been a lot of changes for me because of that exposure.
Yeah, and I'm glad you like fell into the right group, because I guess it just depends on like where it leads you, because for sure there's definitely like, especially in gaming, there's so many different kinds of people, and like my favorite people on this earth like love video games. So it is interesting. It really depends on, I guess, who you're interacting with in that space.
Yeah. Well, and it's also hard because if you're going into those spaces, it's so weird because I'm not like a gamer, but recently a reel came up on my explore page of this woman who is a gamer, and the comments that people were making to her were, oh my fucking God, horrifying. I was like, this is some of like the worst things I've ever heard people say. And so then it would be like, okay,
feedback again.
That feedback thing is happening. It's so weird.
The helicopter's back.
I had myself muted. That wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
That's so weird.
So yeah, so like that, if you hypothetically want to cross over into their spaces, then you put yourself at the risk of being called awful things. And it's like, that doesn't feel fair either. And actually on that video, someone commented on that video, and she's a counselor, and she was like, I agree with what you're saying, but also please don't go into physical spaces and try and do this. She was like, there is a real safety risk that you have to consider. So that's a part of it too. And if I'm being honest, my safety in the past year has been like has completely shifted in a way that where like there's a lot of stuff that I'm scared to do, and scared to share, because that environment, that group of people has that feedback thing is happening. That group of people have like found me. And so now I get worried about a lot of random things. And that's the other part that's really frustrating about this, is as women, we want to be able to like lend the olive branch, but also don't kill me in the process.
Yeah. And I think that's really the balance we haven't cracked yet.
Yeah. Like, how do we do this safely? How do we get men in the door? How do we get them to like actually listen? And a lot of the times when we talk to someone like Andrew, I'll say to him, consider the source, consider the context that you're getting this information from. When you're listening to these podcasts, these are guys who, most of them don't have girlfriends. So why are you taking dating advice from them? And they also will continue to profit off of you if you stay single and you stay angry. We will have a revolving door of callers here all the time. And I would so much prefer that someone starts to like shift their perspective. Honestly, that would probably do more for our views than keeping people angry. And it's happened before where we've had people call back and say, you know what, I had this there's this one guy named Tide, and I literally was just re-listening to his call earlier today. And he was saying that one of the conversations that we had really like made a difference in his perspective of virginity and all this kind of stuff. So, I like just, I can't really, I don't know how we break through. I really don't. And if anyone who's listening to this in chat, on YouTube, including Olivia, like if you guys ever think of things that you think might help, email me. Make the subject, I have a suggestion for manosphere shit, whatever. And because I really truly I need help. I need suggestions on how we do this. And I'm so ready and willing to crowdsource it in whatever way possible. But we do have some other theists. We actually, oh my God, we have a lot of calls in here. We have some other theists on the line that I want to make sure we get to before the end of the show. But Olivia, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, just I think that yeah, actually I do. I think that this topic is like very easy to fall into the realm of like someone trying to like I could totally see. I've seen people say similar kinds of things, but they're actually just trying to make like a right-wing pivot or something in their viewer base. So it's always a really tricky thing to balance, but there's got to be a better way to find it than just saying fuck all men. So yeah. I hope that you have people reach out and you come that we can all work together, try and find something that works better for people here.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you, Olivia, for calling. Thank you for watching that video. That really means a lot to me. And we'll see you on the chat. Call back anytime.
Thank you.
Bye, Olivia.
Bye. Okay, awesome. It's so funny that she was talking about that because I was flipping between my chat and my call-in studio, and I flipped to where I was looking at the comments on that video, and there's like a whole long thing that's like how I didn't give actual. It's on my YouTube channel, which is just Alyssa Ljub.
Oh, okay.
But this guy wrote like a huge thing about how I didn't actually give suggestions. And I'm like, well, no, but that's my point. Like, my point is, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm struggling with this and I want to help. Like, I can tell you that I know that mentorship is really important for men, and it like greatly influences the way that they develop, and completing the stress cycle. Yeah. So like learning how to cry and regulate your emotions, like all these, I can tell you in like a science-y way, in like a theoretical way, what would help. It doesn't matter. Like, I could say that till I'm blue in the face. The people who need to hear it are never going to hear it. And so how do we reach these people? It's just so hard.
It's a difficult one. Yeah, it really is.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Also, the person, Olivia, who just called, she is in the chat. Like, for real in the chat. And I was hoping that she was, but she said, no problem, I'll call again. So yay, happy that she's in the chat. I love when people who are in the chat also call. Okay, do you have a preference of our next call?
No, I don't. No, I need to not choose again this night. I fear I do not have good luck tonight.
Okay, also, the person who is Olivia in the chat is not the Olivia who called. It was just joking, it wasn't me. That's okay. So here's the thing about me. I am extremely gullible. You could tell me something and I will immediately believe you first, and then like being a skeptic is honestly fucking torture for me, because my instinct is just to believe what you said.
Don't let them know your weakness. Don't let them know.
Yeah, God, I know, but it's too obvious. Okay, so we have another theist. His name is Greg, so I'm going to pull Greg into the chat. Hi, Greg.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hi. How's it going?
It's going all right. How's it going with you guys?
Great.
You know, it's going. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I'm gonna have some interesting things that you guys were just talking about, but that's not why I called, obviously. Is it, even though I'm always calling as a theist caller, am I only able to talk about theist, like, are we pigeonholed like that, or can we, even as a theist caller, talk about other topics? Oh, okay, so if I ever wanted to talk about, like, manosphere type stuff, or whatever, whatever you guys were just going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can totally
Okay.
You can totally call in and talk to us about that, and I think that would also be helpful, because the perspective of people who are theists and not might be different, and like I'm happy to hear all of them.
That's okay. No, that's interesting. I mean, even though I consider myself a theist, this might be a bit weird. I don't know if I would necessarily think that my theism gives me a different angle than what a non-theist would have on that. Just because I didn't think of it, just because I didn't happen to think of it that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get off topic on that though. But yeah, that's some tough talks. That's for sure. That's some tough conversations. But yeah, no, I'm surprised you guys took me. I mean, I called literally last week, so I'll try to make this quicker, because I know there's other callers. I don't want to take their time or whatever. But there was a point that I think you made, Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Am I saying that right? Alyssa, my bad. Yeah. And this was a few weeks ago. You made this point, and I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to talk about it real quick. And if I mischaracterize the point at all, please just let me know. But basically, I think you said something along the lines that, if God is all powerful, and if God is all powerful, then God can't be all good, basically, because there's suffering that exists, and so wouldn't God just wipe the suffering away if he was all good? Is that more, so if he's either all powerful or he's all good, but he can't be both. Is that kind of does it sound similar to something you were saying?
Yeah, I think so. That sounds like me.
Okay. Okay, no, you're fine. You're fine. And I didn't finish that video, so I don't remember how it ended or anything, but I remember the other theist making an argument from like the perspective of free will, basically saying that you got to have the bad in the world with the good because otherwise you wouldn't have free will. And so, but I didn't finish it, so I don't know how it ended or whatever. And so, and I know you guys did not seem convinced by the free will argument, which is fine. I just try to come at it from maybe a different angle. You probably have heard this before from other theists, I bet, but if I'm wrong, let me know as well. But to me, I kind of come at it from like the idea of like duology. So like the idea is that, I'm probably not saying that right, but basically the idea is that you have to have the bad in order to recognize the good is the idea, right? So like if you didn't have evil, you wouldn't be able to define good because you wouldn't have anything to compare it to. And you could extend that to suffering as well. So like you can't recognize or truly experience, pleasure if you don't have like suffering to compare that to. And so the reason why these things exist is because almost definitionally they have to. And I know there's some counter arguments that I've heard before from atheists on this. And right now I just want to pause and see where you're at so far on that, because I'm curious what you would say. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll start with that. But
Taylor, do you want to start? Because I feel like I've been yapping so much and I haven't heard enough of you.
There's a couple thoughts I have. Number one, if God like existed on his own, like way before he made everything, then there was just good, like according to people. And then there's also the idea of heaven, where people believe it's only just good. I also when it was hold on, wait. It was there. Oh yeah, if God can do anything, he can create a good world without suffering. Like those kind of like laws or whatever you want to call them, or assumptions or whatever you want to call them, they're meaningless if God is all powerful, because he makes the rules. Apparently he makes the logic of everything. So I don't know, to me that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then also, like, if we need suffering on earth, why don't we need suffering in heaven? Like, how do you figure out what's good in heaven if there's no suffering there?
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, that's an interesting point. So I like that. I didn't think about that. So if God always existed, well, before we got there, and God is all good, and the heaven argument I think is a better, actually, well, for me personally, the heaven one is the harder one for me to address, because you're saying, so if you're in heaven, how would you have that? Another way I'll admit you guys went in a direction I didn't think you would go. So that's a harder one. And another way I would think about it too, and I just want to see what you guys think about this real quick, is what about from the perspective of, well, let me just take a quick step back. You guys, both of you presumably don't believe in God, right?
Right.
I think call it atheist, agnostic, whatever you want to call it. But the point is you don't believe in God. And so you would also say that you don't believe in an afterlife, right? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's also true.
Okay. So, but I think what we could at least agree on is that the life we're living right now is temporary, regardless of what may or may not come after, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and let's see what you think of this. So, what about the idea that our lives, if you have a better description, and I'm meaning it sincerely, what are our lives if not stories, right? In a sense. And with a story, you have to have the highs and the lows. You can't, like a story that is all highs isn't going to be purposeful or meaningful. And so part of the reason, that's part of our purpose here on Earth, is to go through that journey or to go through that story. And for that story to be meaningful, you have to have both.
I feel like none of that really applies to what I believe, because I don't believe there's any inherent purpose. So I kind of reject the premise of like our lives are stories and that's the meaning of it, and we have to have highs and lows. Like, I just don't believe that. I don't think there's any inherent meaning. I feel like we're here for a certain amount of time and then we're gone. That's all that I really believe.
I also think that negative things that are happening will always be relative. So like if you could live in a world where like chronic diseases didn't exist, cancer didn't happen, like people didn't have to truly suffer in this life, and the worst thing that happened to you is that you really love sunny days and you woke up and it was a really cloudy one. Like, why can that not be the case? And also, I think I sort of get unclear about what God has control over. Like, would he, if he has control over everything and everyone and how everyone is made, then why couldn't he make us people who could appreciate things without having the stark contrast of suffering, if that's like part of his
the only reason we view it that way of like needing suffering to need good is because that's how our brains and like emotions and stuff are as humans, and he apparently made that. So it's only like our perception, because God suffering, like he doesn't need suffering, right? So I feel like that's proof enough that suffering is not needed to have good.
Okay. So a couple of things there. First of all, in regards to why couldn't God just design our brains differently so that we don't need suffering to recognize good? I feel like it's hard, and you can't comprehend what that would even look like, right? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't even comprehend what that looks like because our brains don't work that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're, in a way, kind of doing what atheists accuse theists of doing whenever theists say something like, well, that's beyond our comprehension, or God kind of works in mysterious ways, or, whatever. Because that's the point, right? You can't comprehend that. So you're appealing to something that you can't even describe how it would work. And I would just submit to you that okay.
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
I was going to say, I would submit to you that, all I was going to say is I would submit to you that in doing that, you're at least as uncertain about this as a theist would be in that regard.
I think the difference is our uncertainty does not, it's like what I was saying with that other caller. Being uncertain doesn't mean that God fills in the gaps. It just means that we don't have an answer for it. And really it's like it's one of those things where there's a difference between being on here and debating with theists, because we could do that all day. Like, we could go back and forth, but it won't. If you're trying to prove to me that God exists...
This call is being recorded.
Oh. Something just happened.
This call is no longer being recorded.
My touch screen doesn't work. So sometimes I hit it with my teeth. I just turned it off. You are not being recorded. Don't worry.
I heard it. It said, you know what? We're all being recorded anyway because it's on YouTube.
That's
Start
fair.
making your best arguments, Alyssa. You are being recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, FBI who?
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's like, when it comes down to it, I don't believe that God exists because I don't think that there has been no reason for me to think that God exists. And then furthermore, if he does exist, I don't think he's a very good person, because the degree to which people needlessly suffer in this world doesn't make sense to me. Like, there is enough food on this planet to feed everyone, and yet millions of people die from starvation every year. And, the only difference is where you might have been born, in the situation that you were born into. And that, it's like, why would this person who is designing everything have such crappy design?
Well, okay, but at that point, and not to use the other argument, but I didn't want to, but I mean, at that point, that is man's fault, right? Man is responsible for how they're distributing the food, and have created these corrupt systems, and have created these oligarchies and everything, and that's all, man's failing and everything. Now, it wouldn't be God's failing. And that does go back to the free will thing, where man needs to have free will to set those oligarchies up. And it's not, it's not good. But if you force them not to have the oligarchies, then at that point you've taken away, the free will. Go ahead. Sorry.
Why is free will the most important thing? I feel like we always talk as if it's the most important thing, and I just don't agree with that. So why is it automatically the most important thing?
Well, what purpose would you have if you didn't have free will? Wouldn't that devoid you of purpose?
It's just as meaninless to me as being born. It's just as meaningless to me as being born and then suffering in hell for all of eternity. I think anything is better than sending billions of people to hell. So yes, I'd rather not have free will than people be in hell for all of eternity.
I agree.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think there's also a whole thing about no one having free will, even outside of God. Like there's a whole thing about well, that's like a whole other, that was like a big spiral for me when that concept was introduced to me. I don't recommend. But even in the context of God, so when we talk about like the failings of man, do you believe, Greg, that God has a plan for you? Because if God has a plan for you, then it's like God knew what Hitler was going to do and still created that fuck? That makes no sense. Why would he do that? Knowing what he would do.
And why is
I would argue.
Why is the free will of like an abuser or someone like Hitler more important than the free will they're taking away from other people?
All right, sorry, I would like one at a time with it because I'm not getting. So if I forget the second point, please remind me. In regards to the Hitler thing, I would say that God has a plan for everyone, and that would include Hitler. But Hitler chose not to follow that plan, obviously, with the actions he took. That he didn't.
It sounds like God's plan was to kill 6 million Jews. Is kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're gonna pick and choose what's God's plan and what's not.
Yeah, how do we know that he didn't follow God's plan? How do we know that wasn't the plan?
It's like, yeah, like,
I mean, I guess
then you're saying,
if you believe that God is all good, you wouldn't. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Hitler believed what he was doing was good. So, like, I don't know. But it feels like you're picking and choosing when someone is following the path of God and when they're not.
Well, I mean, but this is where we're going to hit an impasse here. I mean, if you believe in the Bible, then you're going to believe, and you believe in the idea that God is all good. So why would God will for the atrocities? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Right, and so we ask questions like, if there's a good God, he wouldn't create the world the way it is, like knowing it would turn out the way it is. Like, that's why the story of Noah makes no sense at all. Because he created those people, he knew they were going to be evil, then he genocided all of them, and then he said, I regret making them, or whatever it is that he said. He said some form of regret, which to me doesn't make sense if he's God. And then what? The world turned evil again. Like, that does not equal an all-knowing God to me, or a good God, because he brought people into this world knowing they were just going to suffer, and he was just going to destroy them. So, like, when you say, like, if God is good, that wouldn't have been God's plan for Hitler. Well, I would say if God's good, he wouldn't have done a bunch of other things either that he knows. Like, I don't think he would have created humans, like, at all. Like, to even create suffering. I don't think creating little beings to worship you for eternity, I don't think that's good. I think that's egotistical. I think that's something like an evil villain does.
You don't think that humanity is a net positive? Like, yes, there's like the worst of the worst, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty awful. But then there's also the highest of the highs, right? That humans have done.
Do you believe in hell? Then no, it's not worth it at all. Nothing is worth that, I don't think. Like,
Nothing is worth
I just
hell.
Nothing is worth billions of people suffering in hell for all of eternity. No, I do not think. I don't even think one person burning in hell for all of eternity is worth, like, no, it's not worth it. We're talking about eternity. You're talking about something that's going to torture billions of people for eternity. And you think having free will for what, like 20 years is worth it? 50 years, 60 years, if you're lucky, 90 years, that's worth an eternity in hell? Like, we should be grateful for that God gave us the blip of time to have a little bit of free will and then spend the rest of eternity in torture. We should be thankful for that, or we should see that as a net good. I don't understand how I could possibly see that as a net good when I didn't even have a choice in the matter. So he's like, hey, I'm going to create you as a being. You don't have a choice. You're going to live on this earth where there is a lot of suffering. There is a lot of misery. And now because you don't believe in me, you aren't the right thing. You didn't do the right thing. Now I'm going to send you to hell for all of eternity. Be thankful I gave you life. That to me is bullshit. That's awful. That's like a villain story in my mind.
So you would literally rather have no agency at all, no free will at all.
Yes. Then be tortured for eternity? Yes. Absolutely. How is that worse than being tortured for all of eternity?
Well, I mean, to me, if you don't have agency at all.
What's the point of having agency if you're being tortured forever? What is the point of that free will? You can't do anything about it. Your free will is taken away in hell. What free will do you have in hell? You're spending eternity there. I only got free will for like 80 years max. Why would that be worth it to me?
Obviously, you used your free will. You used your free will to get to hell. If you made the wrong choices.
I used my free. Oh, no, but I didn't. Like, okay, what do you think leads people to hell?
Well, obviously not believing in Christ and not accepting Christ into your heart.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a choice you make.
That's where I think you're wrong. Me being convinced of God is not a choice. It is not some kind of light switch I turn on and off. I am not convinced. Unless I see something that convinces me, then my brain will do the work and I will be convinced. It is not a choice. It is just like if I told you right now, hey, stop believing in God for 10 minutes. Like, for real. Stop believing in him. That's not possible if you're truly convinced he is real. And I'm fully convinced he's not. And I was convinced he was real for a long time. And if somebody told me you have to stop believing in God right now, it wouldn't have been possible because it's not a switch you turn on and off. It's not just a random choice. And then whenever I did become atheist, I was pretty horrified because I didn't want to be atheist. It like turned my whole world upside down. It fucked up my relationships. Like, I didn't choose that. And so this isn't towards you, but it makes me angry when some of the people in my life looked me in the eye and said, oh, well, you're hurting all of us, and that was your choice. You did this to yourself. So while I was suffering with the idea that I'm no longer Christian, which was so upsetting to me for so many different reasons, they said, you're a liar. And the reason they called me a liar is because that theology hinges on this idea that you get to turn your beliefs on and off. Am I paused? You get to turn your beliefs on and off whenever you decide to. And that is a lie. That is a lie, but they have to believe it because if they actually listen to my experience, if they actually listen to what happened to me, they would have to change all of their theology. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. So would you tell me that I'm lying?
Sorry. No, I don't think you're lying. I don't think that would have been the right response. And I'm sorry that people reacted the way they did. And I'm also trying to listen to the crux of the argument. Go ahead, sorry.
And I'm not talking about any kind of emotional hurt or anything. I'm talking about the fact that because of this theology, it forces people to ignore factual information. Like, they know that's not how the brain works. They know it. because I've asked multiple Christians, can you truly stop believing in God for 5 minutes? And they tell me no. So why on earth would I be able to just start believing in God because I wanted to? And I would be like, a lot of ex-Christians go through this terrible grieving phase after leaving Christianity because they didn't want to be atheists, because they wanted to see their dead loved ones again, they wanted to have hope, they wanted to have an inherent meaning. So it doesn't make sense to me. Well, because I went through that whole process, and now people are looking at me telling me I'm lying, and because of something that is out of my control, quite literally, I'm going to burn for eternity because of it, and I'm gonna deserve it. That's crazy to me.
And it's also frustrating to think that, like, the only thing that Taylor and myself, like, the only thing that we're asking for is any level of proof that God exists, and he just won't do it. Like, it just feels like such an egotistical, it's like, we have to believe that you exist, otherwise we risk eternal damnation, but we have to do it without being able to see him. Why? It's like this crazy ego trip. Just any tangible sign one time over the course of eternity could change all of God's children that he allegedly loves so much. It could change where they end up for eternity, and he won't do it.
Okay, real quick. Just real quick. First of all, Taylor, real quick. I think I may have made a claim that belief is a choice. Belief in God is a choice. And I think she made a very good case that it's not a choice. And so I just have to take that and put it on a shelf and, think on that. But I think that is a good point. Perhaps that was an assumption that I made that I need to not. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I got to think about that, And in regards to you, Alyssa, excuse me, as far as God showing evidence, there's actually an interesting quick question I wanted to ask in that regard as well. And I think a lot of theists have asked you this question before. What would you need? Like, what evidence would you need for God to exist? Could you give like a specific example? And it could be anything, but just something specific. Because, and I don't want to waste your time with this. Let me just give you my conclusion to this real quick. And I think that there is no evidence that could convince you. That's a strong statement for me to say, and I don't mean to put words in your guys' mouth, but I genuinely believe no matter what phenomenon you might witness, you would go to any justification you could, a prank or some kind of fluke or something like that. You would find any reason you could to believe that was not God. In the same way that a theist will go to any ends that they will to justify something as a miracle, even if there's no evidence actually clearly showing it as a miracle. They will try to make those connections anyway.
I'm perfectly open to new information, new proof. In fact, like when I was struggling between Christian and atheist, I begged for anything at all. And so it's kind of hard for me to understand why, if I was trying really hard with my faith, I was going to a Christian therapist, I was reading the Bible, I was spending a lot of time praying. Why would God not want to help me out, even just like a tiny bit? Because I would have taken crumbs like at that point. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It seems like if I'm begging God at times like that, he's actively refusing to show himself to me, and it's like some kind of weird evil guessing game of like, hey, listen, I know you really wanted me to present myself, but I really just want you to somehow convince your brain that I exist, even though your brain is fighting against you, the brain that I gave you. I just don't understand that.
Do you still feel that okay? Do you still feel that way today? Is there any way that he could give you evidence that he exists? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have to assume good faith, obviously, and take you on your word. I remain pretty skeptical when I asked that question.
A lot of people ask us that, and I think it's like, when I think about the proof that I would accept, it would be like, I think about the proof that people have, and it's like the silly things, obviously, but I think about the proof that people have tried to put on display. It's like, do you remember years ago, there was a person who thought the image of Jesus was on a piece of toast? It's like, well, I don't really think that that's where they would put their time. Like, I would hope that they're not putting their time into images of toast. But we have like huge life-threatening, a genocide happening. How about we try and like fix some of that type of stuff? Like anything. Like I don't need a magic trick, but I do need something that is irrefutable.
I have two things that I would offer as the producer voice of God in this conversation. One, if there was a verifiable breaking of the laws of physics, I would have no choice but to believe that there is an entity that is capable of breaking the laws of physics, which may exist outside the laws of physics. So that would be one. Like if God turns another person into a pillar of salt, I would be like, holy shit, that's crazy. But also, if God wanted to prove that he existed and that he was a loving and omnipotent God, and if suddenly all of the worst people in the world started dropping dead of heart attacks, I would be like, wow, that is compelling.
I mean, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I'm.
One thing I did want to add really quick is when I say I'm open to proof, I am referring to like what Lux said. But there's a lot of Christians that when I say that, they point to random shit and say that's proof. And then when I say that isn't convincing proof to me, they say, oh, well, you're just willing to go to any lengths to not believe. But they're pointing to like someone getting healed from cancer or somebody surviving a flood when like 1,000 other people died, stuff like that. So I've yet to come across anything that is different.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm definitely not making that argument at all. I mean, for me, it's more the argument of even if something extraordinary happened, like someone getting turned to salt or all the bad people dying of a heart attack, even if something like that were to happen, you still wouldn't believe. You wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, that's because that's how you operate. So it's hard to imagine that we operate differently.
No, I actually would believe because especially since I was indoctrinated into that and believed it for so many years of my life, even if I saw some kind of ghost interaction, spirit interaction, I would probably assume God's real at that point. And I've talked about this with my friends before. That's why I don't believe in the supernatural. If I saw anything supernatural related, I personally would probably be like, there's probably a God, there's probably demons, there's probably like you know what I mean? So yes, that actually is where my brain would first go to because that is how it's programmed because of like how I was previously.
I mean, you probably wouldn't necessarily go all the way specifically to the biblical God, or maybe you would. I don't know.
No, I probably
would.
That, yeah. But... Unfortunately, I probably would right away.
He said, unfortunately, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just have to take your word on that, obviously. But it just seems okay. You're right. I maybe what the producer said that we're operating differently here. So it does,
and is there anything that could be shown to you that would get you to believe or convince you God isn't real? Any amount of information?
I mean, I personally don't. I mean, I believe in God, but I also think that it isn't. It's you kind of mentioned it as an on and off switch a little bit, whereas to me, it's a little bit more like a lever. And so there are days when the lever is really high for me, and I feel very convinced of God's existence. And there are days when that lever is low, even lower than halfway, honestly. And so I don't know about some kind of evidence that would just obliterate that lever completely and have it all the way in a lockdown position at all times, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
But actually, I just had a really quick, serious question. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's okay.
I was just going to say...
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, that actually does make sense to me because me turning into an atheist wasn't just like some random shit that made me stop believing. It was a very slow burn over like years and years of time. So that does make sense to me. And it was an accumulation of a lot of things, but yeah, I understand what you're saying by that.
Well, I just had a real quick question for Taylor, and sincerely. Was there ever a point in your life where there was no doubt at all about your belief in God, or was there always at least a little bit? And I'm just curious. This is purely sincere. This is not an argumentative point at all. It's just
it depends on what age. Like, I feel like up until I was maybe 16, 17, no doubts at all. Like, none. Like, I didn't even think to question it because it had just been my whole life. And it was like everyone I was surrounded by, everything I was going to a Christian school. I was going to church 3 times a week. Like, there really was no reason for me to, I guess. But it happened more around when, like, the more I was exposed to the actual world and outside of my bubble, did I start to ask questions, because nobody was asking questions. Like, the people I was around, nobody was asking questions, and it's kind of like looked down upon. Or they say it's okay to question as long as you come back to the same conclusion, which isn't like actually sincere, I feel. But yeah, no, there was definitely a time, but like I said before, it was very much a slow burn of, there was a decent amount of years I was a Christian that I did have doubts here and there, but that's why I went to like a therapist, because I thought I was having some kind of faith crisis. Like, I thought it was my fault. And in that whole journey is when I stopped believing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't have much else to say. I just say, I mean, I would just repeat what I said before, that I don't think that was the right way for people to react to you. Obviously, and I'm sorry that going through that and everything. I will say, though, I do, you have shifted my perspective a little, because I was convinced that belief is a choice. And now I am questioning that more. So I
do want to point out really quick.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I do want to point out really quick that those people who said I was lying, I don't take it in this personal way where they and like attacking me. I think they have to say that to keep their faith. And I think it's easier to say someone is lying than it is to be like thinking about what I'm really saying and taking in my experience. But so, like, the only point I want to get across is I don't think they were doing it out of malice or anything like that. But yep, I appreciate it, though.
Okay, no, that's interesting. Well, like I said, I mean, I don't have much else to say. I mean, obviously, anytime I make a call to you guys, I don't actually expect to convince you or anything. I think that would be a bit unrealistic of me. But it's more of just to
I think it was a good conversation,
exploring a bit. But I hope so. I hope you guys thought it was all right and everything. And like I said, I mean, I thought Alyssa's point a few weeks ago was a good point, and that's why I've been kind of thinking about that since then, about the suffering and incompatibility and all that. And it seems like an obvious point in hindsight, and you just don't think about it, and it's like, well, yeah, wait a minute. And so then I'm trying to figure out how to, wrestle with it and everything. Yeah, well, anyway, I appreciate talking to you guys.
Yeah, feel free to call back anytime.
Thanks, Greg.
All right,
have a good rest of your night.
Yeah, have a good rest of the night, for sure. All right. Bye.
Okay. So, do we think that, like, a year from now, Greg is going to be deconstructing?
I've talked, if it's not always the same person, I have a really bad habit of not remembering names, but I have talked to multiple people just like Greg lately who are in the spot I was in, like, I don't know, like 3 years ago or so. So I don't know. I do enjoy those conversations, though, because during that time period for me, I really wanted people to talk about with it, even if they were atheist or Christian or whatever. I just wanted the dialogue, because it was always like looked down upon otherwise, like in the religion. So I really, those are like probably my favorite types of conversations, because like I said before, the deconstruction thing is like a very, very slow burn of, how you view it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if Greg is listening, we're not going to like try and convince you, but I'm just curious because we've seen this pattern before. Also, apparently everyone could hear me typing on my computer. We were deciding on what our last call was going to be, and my mic up here was on mute. I don't know why everyone could hear it. I'm so sorry. It was apparently very loud, so apologies. Anyway, I think we could take one more call before wrapping up the night. Oh my god. We're getting close to my bedtime. Yeah.
Same.
We have some choices to be made here, Taylor.
Okay. I know. I can't make this one. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Okay,
I mean that's your person.
We have an atheist caller and a theist caller, and we generally give preference to theist callers.
Literally?
God has spoken.
I'm just saying, generally.
Lux
God has told us. I think we should go with it.
Ready when you see that he's in the queue. Okay. Let's do an Andrew
Whichever
call.
one we're not taking, we have to let them know here on air that we're not taking their call and apologize.
Okay, so Liliana
I'm
called
sorry,
back.
Lillian. Oh, Liliana, sorry.
We had a bunch of calls today that were theists, so I'm so sorry. We had to bump our atheists off. We have one more theist call. We have Andrew on the line, and he is a theist, and we always prioritize the theists. So, and also, I'm too sleepy for a very long call, so I'll let Andrew, I think he's probably listening now, but I'll let Andrew know that we have to have sort of a quicker one today. But this is the time of the night where, like I say, like I'm turning into a pumpkin. This is when my brain stops working and I kind of like sundown, like Joe Biden. So let's figure it out. Okay, so Andrew, we're pulling him in. Hi, Andrew.
No, Alyssa, I had my hands up to the heavens and I was like, I'm gonna be the last guy, and I knew it. All right.
Okay.
Happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice. I am kind of sleepy, so we can't have our usual yap time. But what did you want to talk about today?
No, I just find it funny that Taylor said that she was kind of like slowly losing her faith, and then she ran to some therapist, and that's what that made her get rid of her faith. So I kind of found it funny.
She was a Christian therapist.
There's always these dang therapists.
She was a Christian therapist.
Oh my God!
Sorry, you can't play that one.
A Christian therapist? Christian therapist.
Andrew, you being against therapists in general is just delusional. It is like a science. Like, this is science. I don't know what to tell you. Psychology is real. Psychology is real. I hate to tell you this. Psychology is real, even if you deny it. So, yes, I tried to get professional help from a Christian. Literally the only thing I could do. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, if that Christian therapist told you to get rid of your faith, then that's not a Christian.
That is not what happened, Andrew. She's saying she went to therapy because she wanted someone to help her stay Christian. She saw a Christian therapist to try to stay a Christian.
Preach it, God.
Then that therapist should lose her job because it didn't work.
Therapists can't force you to do anything, Andrew. What do you think these people do? No wonder you're against them. You don't know what they do. You're crazy.
Therapy only works if you say it works. If you don't think it works, then it don't work. It's just self-ID crap.
Andrew. My God, I can't even.
It's an indisputable fact that therapy is helpful. It's not going to, you can't like go into therapy and make requests to be a totally different person and have the therapist wave a magic. It's not like they're just having conversations with you. They're just talking to you. Like, it's not anything crazy.
You also said that if people think it works, it works. So that means it just works.
Right.
That's all that means
sometimes
is that
it
it works.
doesn't, and it makes things worse. Or it can make it worse
No, it
and
doesn't.
not worse.
When do you have an example of when therapy has made something worse?
Yeah, incels. A lot of them go to therapy and then they come out commit suicide.
What are you talking about? I've never heard of that. And I also would like to see like any evidence that that's the case, because that does not make any sense. Therapists are supposed to they're mandated reporters. So if they feel like the person that they're speaking to is at a risk of suicide, they are legally required to tell someone. So the other part of therapy too is it works only as good as you are willing to be vulnerable and share in that room. So if you go into that room and you are determined not to share, you are determined to conceal what's actually going on, there's only so much the therapist can do. They're not a fucking magician. So there's a lot of like factors at play.
And Andrea, you believe in therapy. You be calling every week and having therapy with us once a week. That's what this is. So you do believe in therapy. And if you believe in thoughts and emotions and feelings, you believe in therapy. That's all therapy is.
Low key.
I mean, I guess if that's therapy.
This is sort of like, it's funny that you say that therapy doesn't work, because we're not professionals, but like the feeling that you have being able to air out your thoughts and go back and forth and like, you know, like that's not that different than what you would do
literally
in therapy. Like you would share how you feel and someone would try and bring you a different perspective.
And they would just be able to and they'd just be able to help you better because they know the science of psychology. It's crazy.
I mean, if something going on in my personal life, I go to therapy. I talk to my homeboys. That's therapy. You talk to your boys. You go to the barbershop.
Yeah, but you can.
You know, you play basketball. You talking to the homies.
That's good, but nothing can replace talking to a professional though, because your friends and your whatever aren't professionals in how psychology works. I don't know what else to tell you. They could give you shitty ass advice.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to pay a bunch of money to some therapist. Like, I mean, when I can talk to somebody for free.
I mean, that's where we agree, is that it's expensive and not accessible.
Yeah, but it's like I could go in and ask my dad to pull a tooth out of my fucking mouth, but I'd rather pay a little extra and go to a dentist to do it.
Yeah, but that's physical though. That you can feel physical pain if your father do it wrong.
Yeah, but you can feel physical pain if you talk to someone who gives you terrible advice.
Wait, what?
You can screw up your whole life if someone gives you bad advice. If you go for the free advice for the person who doesn't know anything about psychology, you can screw up your whole life. So there are actual consequences to talking to the homies instead of talking to a therapist.
Yeah, which and to be clear, I would rather you talk to your friends. I would rather you play basketball and get the energy out. I would rather you do those things than keep it inside. Like it's more important to me that you are letting out how you feel to someone or something, because it's important. And actually I think we were talking about this maybe today. Your body has to complete a stress cycle to be able to like release stress in your body, and stress in your body manifests as cortisol. I'm going to give you the scientific reasoning for all of it, so you can't tell me that it's bullshit. When you are stressed, your body creates cortisol. Cortisol can literally kill you. If you have elevated cortisol, it will kill you over time. So it's incredibly important that you complete stress cycles. You can do that by talking to people and releasing some of that like sort of stuff that's flying around in your head. Playing basketball is also a really great idea. You can go for walks. There's lots of things that you can do. Deep breathing, whatever. But it is important. So anyway, I'm happy that you're talking to someone, but Therapists are trained to be able to have different suggestions and tools for you to be able to navigate things. That's all it is. It's a toolbox. They just give you different tools. It's like the same way. I don't know if I've given this suggestion to you before, but I've talked about before that like I have my clients do affirmations. I have them create their own affirmations and say them over and over. And there is like 40 years of research to support that saying affirmations creates positive thought patterns. That's a tool that I give my clients. I give that tool to other people because it makes their lives easier. That's what therapists do. They just give you little tools and they give you a sounding board.
Then how come, the overwhelming majority of therapist patients are women? Then why do they have, still to this day, the highest rates of depression and anxiety?
Maybe it's because we're actually getting diagnosed and seeking help instead of like suppressing our emotions and then offing ourselves, because men off themselves more often than women do. So doesn't that
but women attempted more.
Make sense?
Yeah,
women attempted more. They're just not as good as men as. They're not just good.
Yeah,
they're not as good as men at offing themselves. Yeah, men are much better at killing themselves than women are.
I think the word you're looking for is more violent.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why that's the case. Part of it is also, like Taylor said, if men are not going to therapy, then we don't know that they are depressed. Like we know that women are experiencing depression because they went through the process of letting someone know. And there are many men who won't ever do that. Like I know men, even in my personal life, to get them to go to the doctor regularly is a fucking nightmare. So, men have some weird like aversion to asking for help and support, which means we don't really have the full story. So I don't think that that's really giving the full picture and the full context of the situation.
Yeah, well, I mean, most guys, the only men who suffer from like high rates of suicide are like dudes that are like 60 years old and up. Like most young men ain't committing suicide or attempting suicide. That's usually much older guys with like super stressful jobs or bratty insane wives or something like that. It's like most guys, they're not walking around here super depressed and miserable and all that other stuff that
But you're calling you call in and talk about incels. You don't think those people are depressed? You also just said that incels are killing themselves.
Incels are a very, 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 very tiny minority of men, though. Like, they're really tiny.
Also, I just want to fact check this really quick. The group that presently has the highest rate of suicide among men, or sorry, this is just by age in general, maybe, but the age group that has the most suicides right now and is rising the most is ages 25 to 34.
Huh.
Interesting.
Wait, what does that mean? What do you mean by?
It means that the people who are killing themselves are younger than what you're saying. You're saying, oh, it's only old men. And I'm just saying that that's not true.
No, but what in the criteria is they using for like suicide?
Cool, yeah, pick it apart. That sounds like a great idea. You who care so much about science and reason and evidence are going to pick apart my sources. Cool.
Right, like what we're giving you, Andrew. So sometimes when we have these conversations, it like we give you a fact.
Hold on, she said like that she said that the age is from 25 to 34.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Suicide Prevention Resource Center, which was the first thing that came up when I Googled suicide by age. The age group that is presently committing the most suicide as of 2020 is people between the ages of 25 and 34.
Let me see.
Oh, and just to be clear, because it says it at the bottom, that's from the CDC as of 2021. So according to the Center for Disease Control, the group that commits the most suicide is ages 25 to 34, and they are rising. Like previously, like 5 years prior to that, they were in the middle, but now they're the most suicides.
Oh, wow. Wait.
And it's also like, we don't need to have the suicide Olympics.
This is it says 14.2 per 100,000, but the male 70 and over is still 40.2 per 100,000. It's still
Andrew,
higher.
I don't know what you're looking at. I posted my thing in the chat if you want to look at what I was quoting.
Andrew, if the world went by what you thought, there would be way more suicides.
What?
If the world went by your view on mental health, more people would kill themselves because they wouldn't seek help.
Oh, really? So how come?
Yes.
How come religious women who practice serious high levels of religiosity have the lowest suicide and mental illness rates?
I don't know. It always surprises me.
Because they have a lot of community. It's because religious people have a community, and community helps people feel like they belong, and it reduces their depression and suicidality. That is super well documented.
So does the LGBT and trans. They have high communities too, and they still have high suicide rates.
And you want to know why that is, Andrew?
Why?
Think for a little bit. I'll give you a second. Okay, time's up. It's because people treat them like garbage. Like, it's not hard to put together. Really? It's a self-own when people bring that shit up. I love it when you guys bring that up because you're reporting yourselves. Like, that is because of how they are treated. Most homeless youths are LGBTQ because their religious parents kicked them out of their house. So with factors like that, yeah, it makes sense because society is cruel to them.
I also think that some of those women that you're citing... Sorry, go ahead.
Don't even say it. Don't even say it, Andrew.
I'm sorry. Atheists are cruel to Christians all the time. They call their God Sky Daddy. They call him delusional, and Christians still aren't committing suicide.
How will you survive? How will you survive, Andrew? How will you survive in this Christian nationalist country? I don't know. You're so oppressed. It's so sad. I'm sorry. I'm done.
I think also the women that are super religious and in traditional homes and blah, 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 that are not experiencing some depression, allegedly, I think that there's probably a chance that they are not seeking support. There's probably a chance that they're being gaslit into thinking that this is the thing that they should be doing, and this is the thing that they should want to be doing. So, like, I think, like, many times the conversations that we have are just lacking so much context. It's like everything in life is nuanced, and sometimes it's just like you present us with a fact and you just like make up a very flat story with it, and that's just not true. Like you're assuming that just because these people... Go ahead.
Well, I think the moderator, she said that the only reason why these religious women have low mental illness rates is because of the community. But the community only holds together because God is in the community. If God wasn't there, the community falls apart.
I guess that's why there are healthy, thriving groups of atheists who meet on Sundays and do the same thing that you do at church. I guess God is the only possible reason why people could gather in groups of people. But also, Alyssa made a really good point, and I want to honor that. It's not just that they have a community. It may also be that that community pressures them not to go to therapy. Maybe they believe the same thing you believe. And also, I use they, them pronouns. Thank you.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just genuinely happy.
Sure, they're genuinely happy because they have community. Like, I'm not debating that necessarily. It's just like you're making this assumption that like It's like, does that mean that religion is a good thing, or does that mean that you don't need therapy because religion exists? What about people like Taylor who don't have a choice about believing? And like she said, it fucked up her relationships when she came out as atheist. What's she supposed to do?
What I wouldn't have recommended her running to that Christian therapist. That's why she should have went to like a church father or something.
Okay, I'm gonna ignore you saying that actually because that's just dumb. Why would I go to somebody who doesn't have a degree and could really screw up my brain by not knowing what they're doing?
I mean, the Christian therapist literally screwed up your faith.
Andrew, you're literally making shit up. I've never said she was the reason that I turned atheist. Like, I never said that. She could have been fighting for the opposite. You have no idea.
Well, and also, Andrew, Taylor went to the therapist because she started to not believe. And then, like, belief is not a choice. Faith is not a choice. So she went to a therapist because she was starting to believe. Sorry, I'm like telling your story, Taylor, but started to believe that there were cracks in the foundation of what she. The amount of times I've said cracks in the foundation. Okay. I need to find a different analogy. Anyway, her ideology was starting to shift and change. So she purposely went to a Christian therapist with the intention of finding her faith again. It didn't happen because we don't really have as much choice in that as we think that we do. And so, like, but Taylor's here.
If
she's
you don't have choice, well,
Andrew, I have something to say. There were Christians in my life who said exactly what you're saying when I told them I was going to therapy, telling me I shouldn't even go to therapy. You should just go to someone in our church. And guess what? Well, maybe I shouldn't say this, but the people who said that to me are not. I don't envy their mental health, is what I'm going to say. And it was those type of people telling me all I needed is God because they don't take care of it. And the people, I see a lot of mentally struggling people who would check, yes, I'm a happy Christian wife, when I know deep down, like, it's not great because they're ignoring a lot of things. And they also don't think they need help with literally anything. All they need to do is pray to God. Their standard of what happiness is. Go ahead.
You broke up a little bit. I couldn't hear. You said that you saw wives going to check a box that they were happy wives even though they weren't. Is that what you said?
What I'm trying to explain is our standard of what happiness means can look very different. And I know a lot of people personally who are Christians who would check off the box of being a happy Christian wife, and there is stuff they are not dealing with, and it's unhealthy. But what they are told is like good and happiness is going to be different than my definition. So even if there are days where I'm less happy, I don't even exactly know what you mean by happiness. I define it as like good mental health. If we're talking about the same thing. Because I don't believe happiness is like this constant state of living.
Are you talking about like some kind of euphoria? Like, what are you talking about?
No, I'm just talking about like good mental health. Like, you can stay motivated, you can be at peace, you can have good, healthy relationships. That's it.
But can you stay motivated and not be happy? Is that possible?
I think it would be really challenging.
Yeah, sure, for a certain amount of time, maybe.
Yeah, but it's not going to be easy.
Because usually when most people, especially women, when they say happiness, they're talking about things that make them feel good. And they think unhappiness is things that don't make them feel good. So
do you think that's an irrelevant factor?
Yeah, go ahead.
You think that's irrelevant to happiness?
I'm sorry?
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. We really should wrap this up soon. I was asking is it irrelevant to happiness whether something makes you feel good? What do you even mean by happiness if there isn't some amount of like something makes you feel good involved in that? But what Taylor said actually was that she values and evaluates this based on mental health markers, which doesn't mean just happiness. Positive mental health is the ability to navigate conflict in a healthy way, to generally feel content in your life, to be able to navigate the hard times without spiraling out. That's what she said.
Oh,
God knows all.
Okay, I understand now. All right. God knows all. Okay. Yeah,
Andrew,
not the Christian
we're gonna wrap our call.
Yeah, I know you said you're gonna keep
really
it short.
Short one. Yeah, but
yeah.
But yeah, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up? And I need to go to bed. I'm so sleepy.
Same.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't really have anything else. I was just I wanted to address the really quick the no true Scotsman thing that the first one y'all kept saying. Oh, the guy was being he was doing the whole no true Scotsman fallacy when he said who's a Christian and who wasn't a Christian. I don't really think it's a no true Scotsman because like you actually have because the Scotsman thing came from didn't it come from like some kind of philosopher that said, oh, only true Scottish people put sugar in their porridge, and then the counter argument was, well, Scottish people don't put sugar in their porridge or something like that. But when it comes to Christians, we actually have a document that tells you who's a Christian and who's not.
You don't.
You have the Bible. So look, hold on. Let me give an example. If a Satanist that worships Satan, and it comes up to you, he got on the devil's horns, he got on the gear that looks like Satan, and he calls you a Christian. Would you believe him? Well, I mean, would you say he's a Christian?
Wow, thank you for that last remark, Andrew. That was great. What a great closing remark. Thank you so much. And we're not going to start a whole new line of questioning. Thank you so much. Wow.
We'll do.
Yeah.
We'll do. All right, we'll talk to you next time, Andrew. Right. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I cut him off. Didn't mean to do that.
Bye.
Thank you, Lux. I feel like you were
yeah, I'm sorry if I was too much on that one.
No,
I don't talk that much normally.
No, you were perfect, and this is the time where like I can't form sentences anymore, so I'm glad that you stepped in. It really is impossible to have short calls with Andrew because it takes so long to like get to where we're going. So
also, somebody in the chat said, get my nails done. I've been picking them off this entire time. Don't judge me. I've been doing that this entire show. And it really helped, actually. It was great.
I've done that on Chewed Gum calls where I've picked off all of the nail polish on all of my nails. Like I start the show with nail polish and I end the show with none.
I literally did.
Been there. All right, let's get into our super chats so everyone can go to sleep and Lux can make dinner. $5 from Puggles. Hello, dear hosts. I'm looking forward to the crumbling of the dry patriarchy today. Oh, Promise said hi, Alyssa, and that she loves you. Oh, I love Promise. Sweet girl. Oh, I have her mug today.
Oh. 99.99. From Jimmy Snow in the line. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Everyone send B-Day supers. Aw, he's so sweet.
Really nice. Thank you, Jimmy. Yay. $5 from Alia Shauna Silverbow. See, I told you I start to not be able to read. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Promise says hi and that she loves you. Oh my god. Thank you. It's really nice. Oh my god.
$10 from Green Man Dave. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Heyo.
Thank you, Green Man Dave. $50 from Brian Alaspa. That's a nice last name. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Thank you for your generous donation.
Aw.
Donation? Yeah, super chat.
Then can you have birthdays more?
I know.
Remind me to let people know when it's my birthday. Unless my feelings get hurt, then don't remind me. $4.99 from Overly Polite Rebel. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Promise says hi again. Oh.
It's because Promise did calling it now. Calling it now?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. I'm sundowning, truly. And so I think that's what's happening. $5 from One-Eyed Heathen, and a happy belated birthday, Alyssa. Thank you so much. Thank you. You guys are making me feel so special.
Every time you say sundowning, I think of Trump saying, "Bad doesn't happen, only good happen." Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Why use more word when less word do trick or whatever? Okay. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. Happy birthday, Alyssa.
Thank you, Atheist Mechanic. $5 from A. Krenich. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Thank you so much. Thank you.
$5 from Melatonin Ale. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Cakes. Promise says hi. I love the tattoos. Preach it. They are good tattoos.
Thank you. Thank you. $5 from Joshua Everett. Promise told us we had to tell you happy birthday. Hello, and I love her. In that order. I'm counting that as telling you for want of characters. Thank you so much, Joshua. I have to go back and watch the rest of the show.
$4.99 from the Silly Spaghetti. Happy birthday. I've been thinking about getting a snake tattoo, and now I definitely need one. It looks so good. Can I ask what lip color that is?
Yes. Okay. This is a sign. This is your sign to get a snake tattoo. This is Black Cherry from Tarte. It's the Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump.
Does it make your lips tingle and weird? Is that what Plumper does?
No, that's what plumpers do generally. This one doesn't. It's just sort of like minty. It's not that plumpy either. But the ones
I'm just
that
learning about makeup, and that was weird to learn.
Okay.
Oh, I hate real lip plumper, like the painful ones.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I love makeup. So, Lux, you can ask me any makeup question and I got you. Real lip plumper is crazy because it genuinely is just giving you an allergic reaction. That's what it's doing. It's giving you a mild allergic reaction.
It's just irritating your face. It's so messed up.
Crazy.
The things we do is wild.
Truly.
No, for real.
Truly.
$10 from Firebird XX. Happy birthday, Alyssa. The competition is steep, but you've become my favorite host. Aww. Feeling the love for your B-Day.
So nice to you. Yeah, really. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. No one needs the Bible. It doesn't have a monopoly on morals. I know. I'm like, you really needed someone else to tell you not to fuck your neighbor's wife? Okay. It's crazy.
Don't steal your neighbor's cattle. $10 from Bombino. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Thanks for all the work you do on the line. I've learned a lot from you.
Thank you so much. That's really nice. Yeah. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. Curtis had to not be sober during his call. I feel like I'm high listening to him talk. I forgot about that call already. He was weird.
Wait. What did Curtis? I don't even remember Curtis.
It's been such a long day.
It's been the longest.
That was so long ago.
I know. That had to be a month ago.
Oh. $9.99 from Ashley Ray. Happy birthday, Alyssa. I'm continuously in awe of your incredible and kind heart. I hope your day was as beautiful as you are inside and out. Keep giving the Curtises of the world hell. Yes.
Thank you. That's really, really nice. Thank you, Ashley. That's really kind. $5 from Mr. Boricua 10. Felicidades, Alyssa. I hope I pronounced that okay. I feel like I probably didn't. Hope it was a good one. Enjoy your evening. Thank you so much. I will be going to sleep very soon.
$5 from the Fuzzy Logic. Technological progress coupled with humanist values are the reasons why everyone has better quality of life now, not just women. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can like attribute such big things to one singular thing. It just will never make sense to me.
Especially when Christianity was like standing in the way of that scientific progress as often as possible.
Right.
And like right now, they're all like, a lot of them are anti-science. So it's like, well, I guess they just had a change of heart randomly, according to what's his nuts.
What's nuts? $5 billion.
Okay.
That's so funny. $5 Australian from Carpe Venom. Happy birthday, Alyssa, and promises to say hi and that she loves you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
$5 from Space Barbarian. Happy birthday. A real Christian is one that exits, which includes a lot of shitty exists. Oh my god. Stop. Nobody laugh, which includes a lot of shitty, mediocre, and some good people. Nobody look at me.
we're doing the best we can. £5 from the Fuzzy Logic. Also, if Curtis wants to talk about...
Sorry, she said nobody look at her, so I hit her.
I didn't even get it. Okay, that's good. That's funny.
Also, if Curtis wants to talk about Christians in Africa, maybe he should find out what it's like to be a lesbian in Uganda or get a divorce in Nigeria. Right.
For real. $5 from the Moonstar. Curtis is telling us he hasn't ever read his Bible without telling us he hasn't ever read his Bible. Women are literally possessions of men in the Bible. Yeah, that's what I was like trying. Oh my gosh, whatever. He like would not talk about the Old Testament at all, so
I really do wish that you guys had hit on that, like, women are fucking dying right now, like, from lack of access to miscarriage management care.
Yes, right. I was literally going to bring that up when we were talking about abortion, and then I was like, I don't know. I don't know if you would have.
He also
didn't need him to minimize those deaths right now.
Yeah. Right, but he wasn't addressing any of the points that we were giving him. He just kept like sidestepping them and just like I don't know what we could have said that would have resonated with him. I don't know, maybe he was high.
Nothing.
Nothing. $40 Canadian from Alex S. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Thank you, Alex.
$4.99 from Mind Hacks. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Jimmy said to send this or he'd pull the trigger. That is dark.
Jesus Christ.
If anybody has seen what's it called? Like Happy Friends or some shit. Smiling Friends. First episode.
Oh, I don't know that.
If you know, you know. It's fine. A guy walks around with that to his head and he's like, make me happy or I'll do it. And that's like the whole episode and it's really funny actually. $50 from Mr. Boricua 10. Curtis, you dull, dishonest, willfully ignorant, dismissive, condescending, uninformed, unthinking, mealy-mouthed, brain-wormed, uncaring, fog-headed Muppet. Wow. You don't get to make a claim and evidence and get upset when corrected, get lost. Preach it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got lost. Hold on, let me find it.
We should, I think, get lost and scram. We should be using those more often. We should be talking like the cast of The Sandlot.
It's not saying Happy Tree Friends. No, guys, that show is foul. Don't even mention it. You ruined my whole night. $5 from Space Barbarian. Dear long-winded apologist. The thing that powers the universe is the thermodynamic gradient, which is mindless. Yeah.
I'm honestly too tired to think about that.
I know, I was like, you know what? No, I'm not.
I'll be so honest. Right, thermodynamic is not, it's not part of what my brain is capable of at 9:40
right now.
Yeah, can't do it. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. That's it. I'm turning this show around so we can go back and avoid Zalo's calling in. This was rambling on about nothing for way too long. That was so rough.
That was actually so painful.
Oh my God.
I feel bad, but it was so painful.
It's hard when people are polite too, because I'm like, if you could just get to the point, then we can have this conversation. But it also was just like,
it was bad.
What are we talking about?
$10 from Alice. Sometimes callers like Zolos give mansplaining misogynistic. They might have called into Skeptalk, but it's probably not a coincidence he called into Shugam. Who knows?
Who knows? The Fuzzy Logic in the chat reminded us of when he said, I'm nearly finished, only 12 more premises. Right. When he said 12 more, I was like, well, okay,
I know, when he said 12, I was like,
we're not
looking at the camera like it's The Office.
Not.
Like, it's terrible. Yeah.
$20 from the Kurt Price. The spaces you are in are available to you to make positive, though. I'm a gym bro, and I'm a leftist. Be the change you want, men. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. I agree
too. $5 from the Mystic Minds Analysis Tavern. This community is helping me deal with the grief of losing my Digas. Have some spare bucks to keep the positive influence going. DFTBA.
Don't forget
to be awesome.
Be awesome.
Okay.
That's from the Hank Green and John Green communities.
Cute.
Who's Digas?
It's some kind of animal. It's like I think like a rodent or something. We had to Google it the other day. I can't remember.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's sad.
That's sad. $4.99 from Hannah Hodgins. God either does not exist or he's plain evil. Period. Point blank. There is an insane amount of suffering. The world is not black and white. I agree. Preaching to the choir.
$10 from the Atheist Mechanic. What is the point of free will if you get punished for using it? Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of people don't know what to say whenever I say I don't think free will is worth that, and they were just like, oh. And then I feel like it just kind of stops.
Oh. Yeah, it stops the whole conversation. $5 from Aaliyah on a silver boat. Taylor's on fire. You were. I was like, I honestly at that point I put myself on mute and I said, she got it. She got it.
Guys, it's because I've taken my Wellbutrin every single day in the past couple weeks. This is the product of using medicines you're prescribed. Yep.
Look at that. We love to see it. $10
from the...
I don't remember who it's supposed to be.
Is it Dante Verona? Can Dorothy really still believe in the wizard after seeing the man behind the curtain? Can she choose to believe that? She cannot. She became convinced it's not a willful act. She learned too much. Yeah. Preach it. True. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. Yeah. $9.99 from Outwitted by Fish. I believe that David Copperfield is cleverer than I, so the criterion for belief would have to come from the deity. Any deity worth that title would know what would overcome my skepticism. Again, I'll be honest, that sounded like brain mush to me in this moment. And
it was what you were saying earlier, Alyssa. Like a guy should know what you need to see in order for you to believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Right. $10 from L. God could participate in some reclable. Why can't I read? Publishable experiment showing that he breaks replicable whatever. Experiment showing that he breaks physics or otherwise performs miracles, not just one that's anecdotal, preferable across multiple cultures.
Here's the thing.
You know what?
I always just think. Yes,
I always just think. My name's Jared. I never fucking learned how to read. That's just what goes through my head at all times during the super chats.
Okay,
sorry guys.
There's not that many. Actually, no, there are. I was going to say there are not that many like evening shows on the line, but there are. You guys, I'm so glad you guys get to like watch us be full brain in the beginning, because by the time we get here
and then slowly deteriorate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my god. We're trying. $4.99 from Hannah Hodgins. I would hate an afterlife where we just worship endlessly, all wearing white, all the same age, kissing the ass of an insecure god. Screw that. Period. That sounds
literally
fucking horrible and boring.
$5 from Joshua Everett. Alyssa, ASMR typing channel. I'm down for it. Yeah, I laugh when someone's like ASMR. I love
that.
ASMR. I don't play about ASMR. I love it.
Wait, what kind of ASMR do you watch?
Her name is Josie B, and she does role play. So she'll be like, oh, one time she was like a sleep paralysis demon, and she was like, go to sleep, and like
that sounds awful.
Dude, to relax.
No, it was actually it was actually so soothing. And then she'll be like, or she'll be a fairy, and and you're a mushroom, and she's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's the wackest stuff, but she's awesome. I love her.
Okay, so your ASMR is like a little acid trippy. My ASMR is just fucking weird because I like to watch the doctor appointments ones. Have you ever watched the ones where they go? Oh my God. Watching someone get a regular checkup, oh, the way it puts me to sleep is
the only ones I don't really like are like the food eating ones. I'm not like a fan of the mukbangs or whatever, but everything else I like.
Everything else. You know what fucks me up? A cranial nerve exam. I love that shit. Oh, cranial nerve it goes exam. So hard.
It goes so hard. I love it so much.
Honestly, I think I could do one. I think I could perform an entire cranial nerve exam accurately because of the amount of times I've watched them.
One thing I gotta say, everyone please go watch the Sleep Paralysis Demon ASMR by Josie B and then report back to me next week because I'm telling y'all, it's gold. Okay, that's all I want to say.
I have her YouTube open. I'll look, but I'm scared. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. Andrew from New Jersey, I hope you see this. I have gone to therapy for being actually suicidal. Therapy has literally saved my life. Therapy works. It does. It just does.
It just does.
Just does.
$4.99 from Taylor Lee. I can talk to anyone, but my therapist has a PhD and continued education on specific issues I deal with. Kiki with friends is not the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And also, we didn't even mention that it's like not fair to ask to put that on your friends.
Yeah,
like
I was thinking about that.
They should not be carrying the weight of your mental health in their hands. They should not have to do that.
And that's why so often dudes use their girlfriends as therapists, and it's not great. But yeah, I agree.
£5 from Barbara Barrett. In my ex-therapist experience, men don't go to therapy because they believe it's a sign of weakness. Indeed, any asking for help is seen as weakness. Sad.
$5 from Josh Beeben. Shout out to the Luxander translator. True.
And I love you, random citizen.
Amazing.
I love it.
That really sounded like a superhero.
I was trying to do. Did you see? It was from Megamind.
Oh,
I did not see it, but it sounded perfect.
It's such a good movie. I really recommend it.
Okay, I'll add it to my list. £5 apologies, from Barbara Barrett. Try holes in your bucket that need patching. Try holes in your bucket. I don't remember what that was related to, but yes.
Oh, I think it cracks in the foundation. She was offering a different.
The cracks. The cracks. $4.99 from Becky004. Alyssa, I'm getting a little scared and concerned that Andrew was just a stalker who has an unhealthy obsession with you. Be careful, girl. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that's definitely not true. So,
you can never be too careful. And like I said, when we were talking about Manosphere stuff with, I think, Olivia, I have had to be a lot more careful safety and security wise in the past year. And so, I never post where I am while I'm there. And
yeah, same.
I'm moving soon, so my address will also be different and whatever. But I appreciate that. 50 of some currency from L. I think Andrew is stuck in the. Now what is that?
Christian.
Zian? Oh, Christian. Oh. Okay. God. Okay, Christian idea of the flesh versus the mind. As long as he doesn't value emotions or recognize his own, he can't be reached. Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
$5 from Melatonin L. My showers are literally shorter than Andrew's calls. I left for that and returned to Andrew still talking. Oh, my Zerba.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It'd be like that.
$5 from Joshua Everett. It's not your birthday, but we all love you too, Taylor. Thank you. I literally said in our Discord,
Joshua.
I was like, I was in our Discord, I was like, I'm sorry we're just saying happy birthday to me. Like, I'm so sorry.
No, it's a good thing. You need appreciation.
Oh my God,
$10 from Unstillborn. That's an interesting name. Happy birthday, Alyssa.
Thank you. $5 from Kate. Oh, wait. I figured out how to say your name once before, and now I don't remember. Does anyone know?
I'm going to guess
do you know?
Cavemore, because the DH is like a V sound.
Oh, it is. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, if you're in the chat still, please let us know if it's Cavemore. There needs to be audio effects for people like Andrew who just can't get it. A slow Jack in the Box song that ends in a sloppy fart, just like their idea.
What a visual.
Sloppy fart is so gross.
It's my new band name.
It's actually really good. Sloppy fart.
What's the genre of a band? I heard they're touring this year.
Oh, it's got to be ska.
I don't even know. Wait, I've heard of ska. What is it?
It's random. It's a genre. It defies genrefying to an extent. I don't know. It's real weird.
It's like beachy, sort of. I don't even, and also like sort of like synthy sometimes. I don't really know how to describe it either. It's really hard to explain. Actually, yeah, I don't know.
$5 from K Black. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Promise us hi. Taylor, thank you for saying what we all wanted to say to Andrew. You're welcome.
Also, Joshua Everett in the chat said it's pronounced Jeremy. It's insane. It's an insane thing to say. $15 from Never Had a Bidet. That's funny. I personally appreciate when God fact checks Andrew. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Hashtag Bandrew. Hashtag Team Looks. Yeah, girl. Bandrew is so funny.
$5
I can't believe I'm the first person who said that. Like, I think I started that with a poll, and then like
Andrew
everybody's picked it up. Yeah.
Good.
$5 from Verna Smith. Happy birthday, Alyssa. You deserve the world for taking Andrew's calls and not screaming the entire time. True.
Thank you. $5 from Never Had a Bidet. Sorry, misspelled your name. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Aw, thanks. No problem.
$10 from One-Eyed Heathen. I think many men in American society are traumatized but indoctrinated to not have emotional outlets and coping skills except anger. Patriarchy needs unresolved trauma, as does religion. Oh my gosh, preach. Period.
Yeah, I said in my video too, like men are legitimately traumatized by masculinity in this country. Like, I think it traumatizes them, and then they go on to traumatize other people, unfortunately.
Yep.
Okay, I saw this come through in the chat, and I don't know what the heck we're supposed to do with this. $5 Australian from Puggles. Hippo Birdie 2 Iwi. Hippo Birdie 2 Iwi. Hippo Birdie. Is this a song?
A ewe is a female sheep.
Oh, to you. Oh, Hippo Birdie to you. It's a happy birthday.
Oh. I'm glad
we got it. Thank you, Puggles. That's thinking that we had the capacity for that.
Well, I
at
guess it is.
This juncture.
It made me think of do you guys know Drippo the Hippo? It's like first name Hippo, last name Drippo. Never mind.
No. Oh wait,
$5 from the fuzzy.
Yes, I do. Sorry.
And then he goes,
continue.
Animal style, in and out, in and out. Animal style, in and out. You know what I'm talking about? It's such a good song. Okay, $5 from the fuzzy logic. But Taylor Wellbutrin was invented after Jesus. Therefore, your life is better because of Christianity. Checkmate, atheists. Curtis, probably. Dude, it's so funny that you say that because I was literally thinking about, like, what makes my life better? And I thought science, and then people who, like, fought for people's rights. Those are the two things I thought of.
Yeah. $5 from Space Barbarian. Taylor, it's fascinating that atheist testimony is so threatening while theist testimony is so unconvincing.
Yeah. I laughed because somebody in the chat said they wanted to yell testify when I was talking about it. And it made me laugh. But no, for real. They only want to hear the Christian testimony.
Yeah.
Always.
I think this is you. Is it?
Oh, $4.99 from Outwitted by Fish. Breaking physical laws proves God. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's magic, you know. Never believe it's not so. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that. We're done. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you for the birthday wishes. That was really kind and really nice. Thank you for sticking through an Andrew call. We made it short and sweet. It was only 15 minutes. Okay? So you guys can't yell at me.
Seemed way longer.
I think we ended up into like 21, 22 minutes. So it was a little bit longer than we had intended, but it's okay.
Don't tell them that.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Oh, yeah. We're best friends now, so I have to agree with you when you lie. Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
You got it. You got the spirit.
Don't forget, everybody. So we got to $50,000 on the SSA fundraiser this past week, which means we have an all-day Forrest and Erica stream this Saturday. I think it's going to start at like noon Central. We don't know yet, but it's going to be all day. So be there or be square.
Yay! Yeah. Join us. It's awesome. Thank you to, Alexander's basically like a third co-host on this now. And so thank you so much for everything that you do for us. And also thank you to Dragon, who was screening today, and all of our mods. We love you very much.
And
that's
watch
it.
Sleep Paralysis Demon ASMR tonight.
I literally have it up in a tab.
It
doesn't look as scary as I thought. I have it up in a tab.
It's not scary.
It has 500,000 views.
Okay, bye.
And bye.